Orcs Toy by Celeste King, Orc Warriors of Protheka, Book 1. Can't wait for the rest of the series to drop on YouTube? Want to avoid killing the mood as the steamy scenes come to a screeching halt? Go to worldsofprotheka.com to gain access to a never-ending collection of beastly romances, and find countless unabridged audiobooks, including this one, that give you exactly what you're wanting. Every last naughty detail. As a special thanks for listening on YouTube, use the code YouTube30 to get a 30% discount on all digital products you purchase. You're listening to Orcs Toy by Celeste King. Chapter 1. Korthar. The gray sky stretches out for miles, the sun now becoming a distant memory as winter stakes its claim. The winter winds bite at my skin, and I can tell that it will be a harsh one this year. It is always something that is at the forefront of my mind as chieftain of the Battle-Scar clan. "Gather the council," I command, looking down into the valley below. Survival is the only thing that is ever on my mind, the threats ever present, whether from the rival clans or from the land that we now call our home. I try not to think about the supplies that are running low, how this makes us more vulnerable to attack and to the elements. Worry will not solve our problems. I need to find a way, and soon. The Broken Tusk clan are always encroaching east and will stop at nothing to see us ruined. But from what we now know, they have made themselves weak by allowing human women to infiltrate their clan, even breeding with them. I have always believed that partnering with humans is the best way for all of us to survive, though this is rarely something I discuss. But what they have done has taken partnering to a whole different level, something even I find hard to stomach. Then there are the Broken Bones clan, our closest and most hated enemies. Even these now have access to human females, though how we have yet to discover. We are orcs. We live for battle, and war is our language. But we must learn to cooperate with humans if we have any chance of survival. This is not something born of altruism, but of logic and reason. This may not be the way that we usually do things, but that way isn't working. The fertile grounds between us remain a constant cause of battle as we fight to survive. Given the abundance on this planet, there should be enough for all of us, but that is rarely how things work, especially with orcs. Though Earth can be harsh, it is nothing compared to what we endured on our home planet under the persecution of the elves. When we fled through the rift and arrived here, it was unthinkable to witness such a civilization and a planet that held so many riches. I envied the humans and the way they lived, nothing like the harsh lives that we were so used to, so rich with resources and technologies that allowed them to thrive. That was before we arrived. I looked down at the valley below, the trees shedding the last of the leaves, the ground beginning to harden. Soon, the land will be barren, and the Broken Bones will start to encroach. There is no time to lose. "The council are ready," says a voice behind me. I cast one last glance at the dying landscape and turn. "Send someone up here to keep watch," I say. "Day and night." They do not usually get this close, but my internal threat levels have been raised, and I need to be sure. "Of course." I trudge back to the holding, wrapping my furs across my broad shoulders. We are a strong race, a large race, but we are still flesh and bone, and our bodies have not yet adapted to cold such as this. When I enter the council room, it is silent, and I know that can't be a good thing. Though they probably sense my serious disposition, I know that if there was something good to report, then the mood would be lighter. They rise as I walk in, and I take my seat at the head of the table. "No doubt we all know why we are here," I say. Nothing. We face a harsh winter ahead of us. Our supplies are low and our population is not healthy. I need not say that this is of grave concern. The Tuskers are now breeding with humans, and we are yet to see more than 10 live births this last season. Garok, a trusted member of the council, speaks up first. "We share your concerns, Chief. It is true that the Tuskers are now seeing a spike in their population growth. Our recon efforts have taught us that this is likely to continue, now that they are going about things in a more unorthodox manner. I heave out a heavy breath, wondering how things have come to this. Since when have Tuskers been agents of change? They are brutes, plain and simple. And now that they have a second in command who is a human female. The room comes to life, grunts and murmurings filling it. Now that they have a second in command who is a human female, Garak continues, we have to wonder if they will start to make alliances with the human population. Also, now the Broken Bones seem to have human females. That is something we cannot leave to chance. My stomach clenches. It is I that intend to do that, and I will be damned if I let Tuskers get there before me, and even more so the Broken Bones. Though I doubt very much that could happen, the Broken Bones do not have the skills, the diplomacy, or the temperament to make alliances, especially with humans, surely. But I need to remain focused. Kijal, where are we on supplies? Right now, that needs to be our highest priority. Can we feed ourselves this winter? Kijal looks at me, then around at the rest of the council members. We are running low on everything, Chief. Our meat stores are rapidly depleting, even after rationing, and our grains will last us but 3 moons. I try not to show the fear that runs through me. It is my job to lead these people, and that's what I must do. I just need to know how I am going to feed them, or the Battlescar clan will be consigned to history.
Chapter 2. Anna. The snow will soon start to fall, and it has been 6 months since the last batch of women has been gifted. That can mean only one thing. It is time. Now that winter approaches, I can only hope that I am not to be one of them, the unfortunate women that are offered to the Broken Bones clan as tributes, in exchange for their protection and what little supplies those monsters are willing to offer up in order to get their disgusting hands on us. Not that anyone, apart from the leaders of Bunker No. 45, will see the benefit of their offerings. They are to be solely enjoyed by those who claim to lead us. But what they offer is not leadership, it is dictatorship. Despite all of the advances that women had made over the centuries, once there was opportunity enough following the Orc invasion, it took little time to return to the Dark Ages. As women, we are expendable. We are here to be used and enjoyed, and little else. The Orc invasion changed everything. Now, humans live like ants on our own planet, the threat of Orc attack forever looming over us, and women live as slaves. But living as a slave to Orcs is something that weighs heavy on us all here. Better the devil you know, as the old saying goes. Though the leader and his council hate the Orcs, they are more than willing to hand over women to them every 6 months. I would say it was like a living hell wondering if your name is going to be called next, but we are already in one, and we are used to it. Living underground in the bunker is what we know. There are times when I wonder what it would be like to run, but where I go. I would never manage to outrun the Orcs who stalk this land as though they own it, though by now they surely do. Some of the women say I am lucky because of the way I look, kept from the worst of the jobs that this existence has to offer. What beauty has given me is the duty to please men. I am a commodity, the same as any other woman here, and the leader has been keen to keep me away from any other men in the bunker or beyond. Like every woman in this God-forsaken place, I crave something else. No idea what this might be, but feeling it deeply. The gnawing inside me becoming so painful it often threatens to eat me alive. For now, I do as I'm asked. I serve and please the men who pretend to be my protectors, but are actually my captors, and take each miserable day as it comes. Each one just as empty as the last, each one as unfulfilling as the next. Some may call that luck, but there is a reason for my different treatment. I'm not sure what that is, but nothing happens without reason here. As a commodity, I have a certain value, and that means I will come in useful to the leader one day. I'm beginning to think that day may have come. Have you taken the water and fruits down to the council chambers? Eleanor, one of the kitchen hands, asks. I'm just about to, I say. Better not keep them waiting. You know how they get when they are not serviced as required. How could I ever forget? I say flatly. You, okay? You seem a bit distracted. I grab a tray and start to load it with whatever fruits I can find, mainly apples and some berries. Just the time of year, I suppose. I know, I try not to think about it. Just keep busy. You'll be safe, I say. You're the best cook in the bunker. She smiles. What's to say the orcs aren't looking for a good cook? She says. I look back at her, my eyes searching hers. Even though she is smiling, I can see the dullness in her eyes, the worry that lives there as it does in us all. No one is safe, and no one lives without this fear. Instinctively, I put down the tray and walk over to her, encircling her in my arms and pulling her in tightly. We stand there for a few minutes, clinging to each other, allowing our fear to exist together and trying to bring comfort to ourselves and the other. Eventually she pulls away, wipes away a tear and busies herself with the pots and pans. Damn kitchen needs a good clear out, she says, trying to change the subject. Because that's what we do. We live our lives, press down our fears, and get on with the jobs we are charged with. There are some nuts in the pantry, she says. Sprinkle a few on, maybe one of them can choke on them. Hopefully, our damn leader. She looks up at me and I burst into laughter, the nervous type that loosens the tension in your belly. Clutching at her throat and lifting her eyeballs up into her head, she makes my stomach hurt from laughing even harder. But then I turn as I see her face change, her eyes now trained on the door where one of the assistants to the council members now stands, his face worked into a false and disgusting smile. That's what I like to see, women enjoying their work. My stomach sinks to the floor and my head spins. I wait to hear the words. Will it be my name or hers, or maybe even both? He walks into the kitchen, obviously enjoying the power of seeing us both brought to our knees. Nonchalantly, he picks up an apple from the tray and bites into it. We wait for another agonizing moment while he chews and swallows. Anna, he eventually says, our leader wishes to see you.
Chapter 3. Korthar. It's just me and Uru, side by side. The others have spread out among the thicket, in search of good game that will keep us through the winter. It's been sparse as of late. All the creatures have found hovels and nooks to cower in, as this bitter season wraps its arms around this strange world. We'll cover more ground like this, fanning out to catch any stray creatures still foraging in the overgrowth. I would be glad for anything at this rate, and by the look on Uru's face he would as well. Crumbling structures are overgrown with foliage, leaving 1,000 places to stick our spears into. I'm glad for the company, even if he's silent. I don't have to bear the burden of our clan alone. There's a quiet understanding between us as the hunt starts. In the distance, I hear a roar from one of ours. Perhaps they caught something and are celebrating their victory. My blood rushes as I search the shadows with keen eyes, refusing to let anything slip by me. But our luck is not so great. After some time, I slow our pace. Uru slows with me. Brother, I murmur, casting a defeated look in his direction. It may be too early to say, but I do not think we'll come away with enough today. Then we will try again. Tomorrow. He claps me on the back, his hardened hands rough from labor. Until we have enough for the whole clan. I like your optimism, I say, banishing the defeat that weighs my limbs and pressing forward. Leave it to Uru to bring the fire to my belly. By your word, brother, we'll find a way. Uru has always been close to me and mine. He's my brother, not by blood but by bond. We were whelped together and could not be separated in our youth. When we came to this planet, little changed but the game. Though I claimed the title of chief, he was always ambitious, following in my steps closely. But it was always in good nature we found our competition. A challenge, never to be the first to die, and never by the other's hand. He's my most trusted subordinate in the clan. One that keeps me on my toes and steadies me when we're surrounded by our adversaries. I could imagine no battle without him beside me. Though we find several furred creatures in the brush, rabbits and bushy-tailed rats, it is not enough to sustain us more than a day. Even if they were made into a soup, it would be gone before the sun was high. We need more. Korthar, we should rest a moment. I hear the chittering of creatures that evaded us, knowing if we only searched harder. But he's right. We would exhaust ourselves to hunger before we found enough food to replace the energy. Fine, but only for a moment. He points to a creek cutting through an old field, overgrown with ferns. I'll refill our water skins there. You rest. I scoff at this worrying of his. I'll rest when I'm dead. He throws a cocked grin in my direction, then rolls his eyes and snatches my water skin. I'll make sure the bed of dirt is comfortable for you, brother. Your body will warm the soil first. He trudges away, laughing under his breath. I keep my eyes peeled for enemies and game alike. Even in this reprieve, I cannot afford to let my guard down for a minute. If we missed something big because our eyes were closed, I would never forgive myself, and the clan would starve. A water skin is handed to me. Uru takes a sip of his own. The water tastes metallic and wrong, but the crumbling city is full of strange smells. It could be that the stench had seeped into the water supply, but it never has proved dangerous. I grimace and restore the skin to its place at my hip. Perhaps you should lead for a while, brother. These wilds have been hostile to my search. As you say, he says, conceding to my command. There's a glow in his yellow eyes that I can't place. He looks back at me often to ensure I'm following. I find it strange. I've always been able to keep up. Why does he doubt me now? Just a little further, brother. The ground beneath me seems unsteady, but I trek on. Have you found something? I think so. Those massive deer with wide antlers have come through here. We may find their herd if we follow them. My eyesight swims, and I nearly buckle to my knees. But I am the chieftain of the Battlescar clan. There is little that can best me. A headache most certainly will not. Through here, comes Uru's voice. I follow on unsteady limbs. I do not recognize the feeling weighing me down. This is becoming suspicious. And if things couldn't get bad enough, I begin to hear the trampling of hooves. Relief makes way for dread when I smell orc. Uru? Comes my hushed query. I look up, and he's racing through the trees without heeding his chieftain. The trampling gets louder until they're at my flank. Massive hooved creatures surround me, trampling the undergrowth with whoops from their riders. My head spins dangerously, and that metallic taste rises up in my throat. Uru! Broken Bones orcs are shouting in their triumph, but all I can think about is Uru, fleeing without once looking back at me. He has left me to die at the hands of our enemies. I struggle to keep the darkness from clouding my vision, the weight of betrayal sinking me to my knees. I taste his poison, whatever rancid powder he put in my water, and weep for the brother I've lost today. Uru, I think, as the poison winds, seeping into my core. Why have you abandoned me? Chapter 4. Korthar. Agony rips through my body with the poison Uru fed me, so that I hardly feel the hands of many orcs dragging me through the green. The broken bones have me, but it is the least of my worries. My thoughts stay with the clan, and my betrayer brother, Uru. Will he try to claim the title of chieftain? He is not fit to lead them. He is selfish, and that could be no clearer to me than it is now. A true brother would have never left me to die. He seemed as if he'd known of the Broken Bones plan and placed me so conveniently within their grasp. I have to wonder what sort of underhanded exchange he'd participated in behind my back. The jeering of rival clansmen is nothing compared to the anguish of his backstabbing. They haul me to my feet and sick their biggest on me, who slams his fists into my aching gut, setting the embers of poison aflame. Something breaks inside me. I curl around my tormented insides. The broken bones don't let up, kicking my limp body between them on the cold ground. Will I join it today? I recall Uru's quiet laughter as he sealed my fate. The earth won't be warmed for me. He knew. He knew, and he laughed at my expense under his traitor's breath. My clan will starve beneath his guidance. Someone kicks my head, sending me down into a dizzying spiral. The poison is finally loosening its grasp, but the hot bruises are only beginning to set in. They've grown bored of tormenting me. No one will bother to treat these wounds. They will fester and bet the death of me. I don't even have the luxury of dying on the battlefield like a true orc warrior. Will the others know I've been captured? Will Uru tell them some lie, some harrowing tale of how he tried to save me? But I was too far gone. He will bring them to ruin with his lies. Those lies will not put food in their bellies or save them from the coming cold. I would skin him alive if I could lay my hands on him now. Brother or not, he has shown his true colors. That dawning chill is already seeping into my green skin. I will die of it first, and then the others will follow. Look at him! One of my captors spits. No wonder his clan is dying out. The battle scars have nothing on us, another says with a laugh, kicking my ribs. If this is their chieftain, then maybe I should pay their women a visit. Show them what a real orc can do. My mouth moves to form words. Something hard smashes into my teeth, and blood leaks from my mouth. What should we do with him? The chieftain will be pleased when he returns tonight. We should mount his head on a pike before he arrives. I sneer and spit. Kill me, cowards. They all laugh. Too easy, another says. The voices of my enemies are swimming around me, so I don't know who is speaking any longer. The world spins when I open my eyes, and all I see are heavy leather boots. It's not often we have another chieftain here to visit. We should show him a little broken bones hospitality. They could make my suffering last a season, if they wanted to. It is better to die with dignity than allow their brand of humiliation. I wish I had an axe and a second to get my bearings. I'd show them who they were dealing with, but I remain quiet, lest I give them any more ideas. Someone links rope around my wrists, twisting them until they're snug against my raw flesh. Painfully, they yank it forward, setting my shoulder blades wrong as they drag me, face first, through their encampment. I hear the whoop and cheers of clansmen as they celebrate my easy defeat. My face goes numb as we bump over rocks and sticks, my dead weight only adding to their heavy grunts. I can do nothing when they hoist me up. Faces fill my vision, curious, hateful, a rainbow of expressions from the young ones that are so abundant in their clan. We are weak compared to the broken bones. Even if Uru told the truth and said I was captured, they wouldn't have the power to lay siege to this clan. The smell of roasting meat makes me grimace, not for myself, but for our young ones, for our rare women that need such sustenance to bring a child to term. A rotten fruit is chucked at my chest as I'm raised and lashed to a pillar. It was thrown by a small orcish boy, with cruel yellow eyes and another red fruit in his other hand. He waits until the clansmen are cleared before throwing it at my face. I spit out rotten tomato pulp that slides down my bloodied frame and leaves me drooling. What a waste, when we have so little. Soon the onlookers grow weary of their new spectacle and move on, leaving me alone. I shake the seeds from my matted hair and focus on clearing my vision. I am lashed astride a large hut, likely the chieftain's. Beyond is their ceremonial grounds. The bones and stones that litter the space make it obvious that their shamans have worn the ground down with their rituals. I am but an adornment, a wilting treasure for their collection, and when I finally die, my parts will be used for their battle magics. My body, my essence, will be wielded to destroy the very clan I've sworn to protect. I lift my tired eyes to the sky, where the sun has just begun its descent, and weep for those who cannot defend themselves in the coming months. I weep for those that Uru, by his own greed, has damned.
Chapter 5. Anna. "Move," says one of the leader's men through gritted teeth. He pushes at the young girl who lags behind, her small frame doing its best to keep up. But she is weak and not used to being outdoors, the paleness of her skin a clear sign that she will not last long unless she is properly fed and rested. The cries of the other woman eat at me, though I don't join them. These men have taken enough from me. I will not give them my tears as well. We make our way to the Orcs' base, the first time that most of us have been on the outside for weeks. Though it is a relief to feel the air on my skin, even though it is bitingly cold, it is hard to focus on anything other than what lies in store for us all. Once the women have been gifted, we never hear from them again. I have lost friends to this practice. Others have lost sisters and daughters. There is nothing that can be done for them once they are gone. The Orcs are then their masters, and we can only imagine what happens from there. I try not to think about it, though. I put one foot in front of the other, take one breath at a time and press on. This is the only way to survive in this world. To worry about what comes after the next moment is futile, and though our bodies may be weak and our positions weaker, they cannot control our minds. This is the way I survive. I keep my head down, my mouth shut, and my mind strong. The leader sees nothing but a pretty face, a nubile body. He has no idea what goes underneath the surface. If he did, I would have been dead a long time ago. Silence is my best weapon, but I am always watching and always learning. As an orphan, I have grown up under the leader's teachings, and I have taken everything I have learnt and stored it away, ready for when it is needed. When I have been allowed to the surface to forage, I have used this time wisely. My hunting skills, though self-taught, are more than adequate, and if it weren't for the Orcs, I am quite sure I would be able to survive on my own. It's what I have been doing all my life. There is more out there for me and for these women. I know it. And somehow, even though there seems little chance now, I will help create the change that is so desperately needed. A strange and uncomfortable feeling shifts through my legs as I walk, as if they have a mind of their own and just want to take flight. But I can't. I can't leave them like this and make another woman take my place. Not only that, but I know I am the prized possession. Our bunker is known as for its beautiful women, and I am known as the one everybody craves. The fact that I am now being gifted tells me that the leader is desperate to please, and desperate to get his hands on the payment that is offered for me. I have finally served my use. As I trudge along, my mind wanders. If I flee once I'm at the Orcs' base, the leader will not know or even care, so long as his payment has been collected. Maybe then I could even try and take some others with me. The first thing I notice is the smell. It clings to the air, pungent and thick, sticking in my throat. We are close. My heart races and my breath hitches. Whatever lies beyond those barricades, I will deal with it. When we approach, the sight of them makes my stomach clench. I have never seen one this close. They are huge, bigger than I ever imagined, their skin green and their eyes a sinister yellow. The barricade is lifted, though we are not invited in. A few seconds later, and an even larger one appears. From the way the two guards submit to him, I gather he is the chieftain. "Leave them here," he spits, his voice harsh and deep. I have never heard the leader spoken to in such a way, and it shocks me. He walks towards him, shoving him to the ground before dropping the pitiful payment of supplies next to him on the ground. I grit my teeth at these bastards, both human and orc, at the unfairness of this world. The noises that the women now make breaks my heart, their fear so strong it almost cripples them. I stand motionless, my eyes trained on the ground as the chieftain works his way up the line inspecting his goods. He tears at clothes and grabs at flesh and stops when he finally gets to me. "Well, what have we got here?" he says, lifting my chin with his huge, dirty hand. The fear and anger in me surge, but I do not show it. I am used to this. I have been trained to please. I look back at him, my face gentle and submissive, but my mind imagining plunging a dagger into that hulking neck. "Take them!" he yells to his guards, who start to usher us in. But he does not follow them. Instead, he holds me back, and then walks behind me, and I can feel his eyes all over my body. We make our way into their base, and I can hardly believe this is happening. Behind me, I hear the rumble of appreciation from their leader, and worry that I am first on his list of priorities this evening. Whatever happens, I will overcome this. Though right now, as the barricades close behind us and I feel his breath on the back of my neck, I have no idea how. Chapter 6. Anna. Tonight is obviously a cause for celebration. For the Orcs. They have new women to enjoy and seem intent on getting on with it. Though this isn't exactly a feast, they act as if it is, the meat being served more than I've seen in years. I have no choice but to cater to the chieftain, who we have learned is called Darude. My skin crawls just saying his name, especially as it always seems to be so close to him. But I have no choice. It is my job to serve him, and that is something that I know how to do well. I pour drink after drink into his goblet, while his hands constantly roam up my leg or across my backside. It makes me want to shudder, but instead I play the game. Nothing good will come of me resisting, yet this I know well. Offering coy smiles seems to please him, though the rest of them laugh at me. This pleases him more. He actually thinks I am enjoying this, that I like him. Men often see what they want to, and it seems Orcs are no different. He likes me playing coy, the women who have come before me obviously not aware that this is often the best way to survive. It pains me to say it, but that's just the way it is. Doesn't mean to say it will always be like this, but for now it must do. "Darude, you will break her," one of them says, laughing. Darude looks at me and smiles, his eyes unable to stay still when they're upon me, raking up and down as if already devouring me. "What do you say?" he says, smiling and slapping his hand between his legs and grabbing his bulge. "Is this Orc too much for you?" The hall erupts into laughter, and I want to slam my tiny fist into his face. Instead, I say, "I like strong men." This causes him to stop, the look on his face so full of dark desire, I worry I am doing too good a job. I hear a growl escape him as he pulls me closer, and it reverberates into me. "I'm glad to hear it," he says, "but we are Orcs, not men." "Of course," I say, smiling as he beams back at me. "I think you will get on well here," he says. "Tell me, do you have a name?" "What does it matter about her name?" someone says. "She won't even remember it once you've finished with her." "Silence!" he snaps. My heart quickens at the ferocity with which he acts. No, these are definitely not men. They are Orc, through and through. "Anna," I say shyly. "Well then, Anna, I'm sure if you just carry on in this way, things will go well for you here." I look over at the other women that are serving the Orcs, their eyes hollow, their bodies crumpled. "Thank you, Darude," I say. I hope they are listening, watching. They know that this was my job at the bunker. They can learn to survive as I did. As the night goes on, I continue with my role, trying to make eye contact with each one of the women. I notice that some have already started to learn and do as they are asked, even offering coy smiles and laughs of their own. In a situation like this, one learns quickly, and it is my job to help them. Once Darude has had his fill of food and drink, he pulls me into his lap. "It is time for me to take to my bed," he says. My stomach twists. I know what comes next. Yes, I say. You will accompany me tonight. Of course, Darude. As we stand and walk, I feel the eyes of the women on me, and I give a small, affirming nod. I will not let them see me scared or broken. They are relying on me. I will show them how to do this. I will be their light in this darkness. We leave the hall and make our way to Darude's hut, larger than the rest of those in the settlement, and set a slight distance away. I think about the women and hope they will survive the night. He pushes open the door and strides in, heading straight to the room at the back that houses a huge bed. I follow him, as I am expected to do. When he touches my face, I flinch, and I see anger flare in his eyes. What? He says. I'm just nervous, I say, not lying. Maybe some wine would help? He snorts. You'll find some out there, he says, obviously meaning that I should get it. And bring me some. I do as he says, leaving the room and finding the wine and some goblets. Looking back towards the door, I can't see him, which means he hopefully can't see me. I reach into the pocket inside my shirt where I've stashed the sleeping powder I stole from the medicine supply store at the bunker. Then I place enough to put down an elephant into his drink. When I return to him, I hand him his glass, sipping at my wine while looking into his eyes. I see the bulge grow in his pants as he watches, desperate to get his hands on me now. He knocks back his drink and begins to remove his clothes before taking his place on the bed and telling me to do the same. Yes, I say as I start to unbutton my shirt. He practically salivates on the bed, but I take my time. Then, before I have even got down to my second layer, his eyes are drooping and his chest rising and falling with steady breaths. I button myself back up and head to the front door of the hut. It's time to check this place out.
Chapter 7. Korthar. Listen to them, barking like the dogs that they are. No doubt stuffing their vile faces with the food they have denied my clan, and which they continue to deny me now. Bound and on display. No food. No water. How did it come to this? Their roars fill the night air, while I struggle against my bindings. But I'm getting nowhere fast. I've been taken by orcs after all, not puny humans, and as a chieftain, they know I am strong, their efforts at securing me paying off. They have not stopped for hours, but sometimes when their rabid barks and howls die down, I hear something different. Laughter, softer and high-pitched. I'm sure that it is coming from human females. It is as we thought. They now have them too. My situation couldn't get much worse. I have been captured, tortured, beaten, and left hanging here in the cold. If this clan does have women, it may only be a matter of time until they become more of a threat than they already are to us. But there are more immediate threats to us now, I suppose. There is a traitor amongst us, and their chieftain has been captured. If the council meeting had taken what little hope they had left, then these new developments will bring more despair. I look at the moon that hangs high tonight, and my senses sharpen as I hear footsteps. They are soft and light. Maybe a child come to have a look at the Korthar, chieftain of the Battlescar clan. Or maybe my mind is finally giving in, and this is the end for me. I do not fear death. I have faced it many times and seen it many times. But I know that they will not make it quick and painless, and I fear for my clan. I had hoped to be the chief that my father had been. I hang my head in disgrace. My weariness begins to take over. What they have done to me has not broken me, but I wonder how long I can sustain this. My fears for my clan grow. Without me, they stand little chance of surviving this winter, and an even smaller one of surviving the broken bones. As the footsteps get closer, I am shocked to my core. It is not a child that stands in front of me, but a human female. She looks up at me, hardly believing what she has stumbled across. I have not laid eyes on many human females, and care little for them, though she is beautiful as the moon illuminates her face. small and slender features, large eyes and a full mouth that I instinctively want to run my finger along just to feel its plumpness. Such a shame she plays bedsport with broken bones. We stare at each other for longer than we should, a complicated look in her eyes that I cannot fathom. She steps closer and my muscles tense. Surely they would not send a woman to put an end to me. But she doesn't seem to have malice in her, though she is difficult to read, and I don't feel she expected to find me here. Yet here we both are, staring each other down. Whatever her plans are, I do not have the power here. I see her taking in the tassels of my hair. If she knows anything about orcs, and she must do if she is here, she will know I am Battlescar, and that I hold rank. "You're not one of them," she says, her confidence shocking me, though I don't know why. It's not as if I pose a threat to her like this. I am not. I hear the hoarseness in my voice as my words scrape across my sore throat. "Are you Battlescar clan?" "Yes." "Then you are their enemy," she asks. Her questions puzzle me. What does she want from me? And why does she seem to know less about these brutes than I first reasoned? "Mortal," I say, the words almost choking me. "But I thought you would know that." Her eyes narrow and she leans down to me, though stays far enough from my reach. "I have not been here long," she says. "It was not my plan to be here, and I know little of these." She stops and reins in her words, as if to keep from enraging me. "Orcs," she finishes. There's both a haste and a sorrow in her voice, as though she needs to be free of the broken bone stronghold as soon as she can. If so, then that makes two of us. She says nothing for a few moments, and I join her in her silence as the noises continue to spill out of the hall. She truly is a beauty, long hair the color of hay, and eyes that sparkle despite their concerns. She is small, not even a quarter of my size, though from the meat on her bones and the pallor of her skin she is strong, I can tell. "So, you want to be free?" she says, her eyes examining my bindings. Her eyes trace over the thick web of rope that I am latticed with. I look back at her, not in the frame of mind to be teased by some human. I may be weak in this moment. I may hold no power, but I am still a chieftain, and will not sink to that level. The next words she utters take me completely by surprise, and I wonder if my weary mind may now be playing tricks on me. A beautiful human female, with a strange and welcome request. She looks at me with inquiring eyes, her face serious and intense. It is a face that I already have etched into my mind. "If I help free you, will you help me and the rest of the human women to escape from here?" Chapter 8. Korthar! What? Confusion racks me. How can someone as small and powerless as you possibly help me? The words are out before I can censor them, but this surely sounds like madness, and she must know it. They land on angry ears. Her face hardens, her eyes narrowing and boring into me, as if she could pierce me with them. "Size and race are not everything," she spits. Though she is unable to raise her voice for fear of being caught, I can feel the force in it. If that were the case, you would not be hanging up there, and I would not be offering to free you. This human woman is more than just a pretty face, it seems. I try to retaliate, but I have nothing as I hang here, dumbfounded, in front of her. I would never have imagined such passion and courage to belong to someone so small and weak. I am even more intrigued by her now. There is a determination in her that almost matches my own. This is no weak human female. She has more guts and courage than some orcs. And because of this, I trust her. Enough to tell her that I am weak. I can't leave now. I have no strength. I haven't been given food or water since my capture, and my body is weak. This is no time for foolish pride. If we are to escape, then I need to be strong enough to do it. She looks up at me. "Wait for a moment," she whispers, before taking off into the night. I can only hope that I have not scared her off or shocked her with my weakness. But there is no way I could fight my way out of here and rescue a group of humans in my current state. It is only a few minutes before she returns, carrying a pail and what looks like bread. She is resourceful as well as courageous. If only the orcs in my clan had half of her ability. Wetting a cloth in the pail, she attaches it to a lance and brings it to my mouth. It is a relief like no other as the cool water drenches my mouth. She continues with this exercise several times until my head throbs less and I already feel myself springing back to life. Next, she removes the cloth from the lance, attaching a hunk of bread and feeding me with it. My stomach growls as it finally gets to work on something, and though my throat is still sore and my body battered and bruised, I manage to eat it, a sense of hope growing in me with each passing minute. Once I demolish the bread, I look at her, her face determined and thoughtful. How is she able to do this in a stronghold this populated? "Aren't you scared they will find you here doing this?" I ask. She is my only way out of here after all, and I would hate to see harm come to such a creature. "Not really. They have drunk so much tonight they can barely stand. And as for their chief, Darude, he is out for the count." She sounds as if there are no nerves about her at all, so she must be comfortable with what she is doing here. "A chief should be able to handle his alcohol," I sneer. She huffs out a small laugh. "It's not the alcohol that is responsible for his very heavy sleep," she says. "Oh?" She smiles up at me. It is a wicked smile that instantly endears me to her. "It's the sleeping powder that I slipped into his wine." Though my circumstances are dire, I can't help but smile back. This woman is smart and tactical, and I like it. Who knew that human females could be quite so brilliant? "There was no way he was getting his filthy hands on me tonight, or any night for that matter," she says. Just the thought of it makes my blood boil, though I have only just met her. But orcs have a way of behaving like animals with females, though it is something I actively discourage, and the thought of her being ruined by him sickens me. "That is very resourceful of you," I say. "I'm a very resourceful woman," she says. "When you live as we do, you learn how to be. And now that I'm away from my bunker, I intend to use everything that I have at my disposal, including you. I have to admire her intelligence and her honesty. There is so much to this woman. She is like a breath of fresh air." "That doesn't bother you?" she asks, when I don't seem shocked or offended, and it is almost a challenge. "Why should it? I may be an orc, but logic and reason are how I operate. Not just with my fists. We are not all the same, you know." She seems surprised by my little confession, but seeing as we are getting to know each other. I admire anyone who forges their own way in this world. It is not easy for anyone, though I have heard how the humans treat their females. She swallows hard, betraying her emotion as she no doubt thinks of her treatment. "You have no idea," she says. "And we are not their females. That's why I will not leave these women here. I will take them with me, and we will start anew. Our own lives, with no rules other than what feels right for us." My chest burns hearing her talk this way. Ambitious, courageous, and compassionate. She really is not what I expected. Though I am stronger and fiercer, I know she has the intelligence, the resourcefulness, and the determination to do what she says. If anyone can get me out of here, it is her. And when she does, I will honor our agreement fully. "So, how will you help me then?" I say.
Chapter 9. Anna. I hear his feet as they meet the floor and my stomach knots. I have prepared breakfast for him and will make sure he is pleased with my work. He needs to think I am his now and that he has me right where he wants me. It is a skill that I have developed over the years. making men think what they want to think while quashing my own desires to let them really know the truth. My strength lies not in appearing to be right, but in mastering my own mind and the egotistical need for one-upmanship. He enters the main area of the hut and looks at me, a vile grin on his ugly face. Throwing himself down at the table, he instantly begins to rip through the meal I have prepared for him. It is not a pretty sight. When he looks up at me, juices running down his chin, I almost heave. "I thought you would need a hearty breakfast after your exertions last night," I say shyly, playing along. He is too stupid to realise it is just an act, and just as I thought, it works. He bares cracked, yellowed teeth and talks while still eating, food spilling from his huge, ugly mouth. "That was nothing compared to what I am capable of," he says, "but you'll find that out soon enough. Would do me no good to break you straight away." He grins salaciously. "I have plenty of plans for you, human." I look down at the floor, as though chastened, but inside I am smiling. What this oaf doesn't know is that he did nothing but snore and break wind last night, and that what he thinks he did, claim me completely, is merely the result of the hallucinations caused by the sleeping powder. The taker sees what they want to see, and I have no desire to know what that is, though I can guess. The drugs that I used on him were not strictly medicinal, but a combination of banned substances that did the rounds before the orcs arrived. Though the powder is strong, I only have a limited amount, though I do not regret using some of my rations on him. From the screams I heard last night that echoed across the stronghold, I know that the women fared much worse than me on their first night, and guilt swims through me. Hell only knows what they went through, and it will do me no good focusing on it. I need to put an end to it, or they will not survive for long. The plan is in place. With everything I have, I wish I could have slipped them all some of the powder to administer to their beasts. But this drug is our only hope of getting out of here, and the only hope for the orc on the pillar that will help us to do that. I shuffle around tending to my jobs, making sure he has everything he needs, though it sickens me. I act weak, as though body has been ruined by his harsh punishment the night before. Maybe then he will lose interest in any more of that business today. Once he has been fed, he leaves without saying anything, and I breathe a sigh of relief. Before I clear away his things, I take what food I can and settle down to eat. The food is bland and tough, but it is sustenance, and that's what I need. As I eat, I think about the orc on the pillar. He seemed much different to the one I shared a bed with last night. He is softer somehow. He engages his mind and not just his mouth, especially after I gave him that dressing down. He almost seemed to respond positively to my assertions. Though he is an orc, I still feel some sort of sympathy for him, hanging up outside like that. The night was a cold one, and he must have suffered greatly. So much suffering all of the time. Sometimes it is hard to bear, though it surprises me to think of an orc suffering and to care. So many times I have wished suffering on them, none more so than now as I sit trapped in this place. But as much as I don't understand it, I want to set him free. It does not seem right for someone like him to be paraded and humiliated in such a way. A noise from outside brings me out of my thoughts. Deep, racking sobs that press at my guts. Moving to the window, I see it is one of the girls, and my heart tears in two. She is being dragged by her hair by one of these brutes, clumps of it coming out with the force. Instinctively, I race out of the hut, but as soon as I'm outside, I freeze. What can I do? I'm helpless against these animals. The orc takes a stick and starts to beat her with it, the sound so sickening I can't bear it. I slip to the side of one of the huts, hoping I have gone unnoticed, hot, angry tears springing from me. I let the worst of them out and then stop. This is no time for me to lose it now. People are relying on me to put an end to all of this, and life has treated them poorly enough as it is up until now. I refuse to let these bastards win. I refuse to let any of it win, the leader, the orcs, the complete unfairness of it all. I need to be strong. This is down to me now. It's a thought that is terrifying, the responsibility overwhelming, but Clenching my hands, I realise I do not have a choice. This is about more than me and my fears. This plan needs to succeed, for all of our sakes. Chapter 10. Anna. The night draws in and the cold seeps into my bones. It is going to be a harsh winter this year, and the first that I will not live underground in the bunker. Though I know it will be far from easy, the thought of being free is more enticing than ever before. As the sky darkens, so do my thoughts. I can only hope that we all fare well tonight, though I doubt that very much. My heart aches for the women as I think about what may befall them, which is why I am determined to get going. My thoughts travel to the orc prisoner outside, and I hope he will be able to survive another night on that pillar. Though they are tough creatures, it seems that the cold is no kinder to them than it is to us. Yet another thing I have learned about them. To my relief, I have evaded the chief's clutches today. Food and supplies are their main concern as winter makes its appearance, and the orcs are busy dealing with this. Darude is too busy with these concerns during the day, which means he only has time to force me into his bed for sex at night. But not tonight. I wait for the powder to take effect on the oaf on the bed, knowing that he will be snoring within the next 2 minutes. Though it takes a lot to knock him out, I have no choice if I am to execute my plan. It is for the best for all of us. Once I hear his brutish snores, I know I am okay to leave. I leave him to his vile thoughts about what he will be doing with me and prepare to go to the orc prisoner, from one orc to another. I pull some dark furs over me, partly to keep the cold out and partly to keep me camouflaged, and head out to the pillar. When I get there, I notice he looks drawn, but better than he did when last I saw him. He shivers as he hangs there, and a part of me wants to cover him over with my furs. But there's no way I can reach him. He seems to brighten when he sees me. "You're back." I look up at him, pulling strips of dried meat out of the cloth bag I am carrying and skewering it on a lance as before. He eats at it hungrily, though the bread helped him before it is protein he needs now if he is to get strong. "We have a plan to execute, do we not?" I say, matter-of-factly. "We do," he says between swallows. It gives me some relief to hear him talk this way, as though I have an ally, even if it is an orc. I wait for him to finish eating before feeding him some more. He needs to be as strong as possible to escape and to help us. This is my mission now, to help an orc back to health. "Your clan will be glad for your return," I say when he has finished. His head drops. I can only hope. "What do you mean?" I ask, confused. "I do not make it a habit of mine being captured by the enemy," he says, with a hint of anger to it. He waits a beat. "I was betrayed. By someone that I trusted. If he now leads the Battlescar clan, then I will need to challenge him again, and I will rip him, limb from limb." I'm shocked to hear of his betrayal. As a leader, is he strong? Is he even the right person to help us out of here? Doubts start to creep in about whether I have put too much faith in this orc. "So orcs do not keep their word," I say, testing him. "Orcs always keep their word," he snaps. "Uru was a traitor, nothing less. He deserves everything that is coming to him." "And how can I be sure you are not just as treacherous?" He stares down at me, his eyes dark and serious. "I am strong, and I am trustworthy. No one can defeat me in battle. I have said I will help you, and I will." In the end, I have no choice, I suppose. It is him or nothing. Whatever happens once I free him is the risk I must take to save myself and the other women. If I do not, we are dead soon enough anyway. Hesitantly, I work at the bonds at his legs, managing to get half of them free. But my blood runs cold when I hear someone coming. I look up at him, startled, before slinking behind the pillar, the furs pulled over me. 2 orcs step out of the darkness, their laughs booming through the night air. "Tomorrow is the day," one of them says, drawing his hand across his neck. and we're going to enjoy watching every second of it. It has to be tonight. There is no choice now. They pass by me, and I place my hand over my mouth to stifle any nervous sounds it may be driven to make. My heart almost stops as he sniffs the air. Please no. But he stops as the other explodes into laughter, peeing at the feet of the prisoner. I pray he doesn't notice the loose bindings as the warm stench of orc piss hits the air, creating a mist. Luckily, he is too busy aiming his dick and laughing. Once he's done, he spits at him before they both walk off, still finding their pathetic actions funny. I slump to the ground, glad to see the back of them, my body weak with nerves. But I have no time to waste now. I must proceed with the plan, because if I do not free him tonight, he will be dead by this time tomorrow. And so will all hope of freedom.
Chapter 11. Korthar. Her hands work quickly, though there are times when she struggles, the cold obviously getting to her fingers. But her eyes are desperate yet determined, as are mine. There is just the pair of us, wanting nothing more than to set me free, each second never more important. I try to remain calm and focused, though inside I am burning. Those idiots have inflamed my rage. The broken bones have insulted me, time and time again, and there is no way I can let this go. I will destroy them. Eventually she manages to free my hands, which allows me tear at the remains of the bindings. "What is your name?" I finally ask, as I climb down from place of torture and humiliation. It has only just struck me that I do not know it. "Anna," she says. "And you?" "I am Korthar, chieftain of the Battlescar clan." I say this to remind myself who I am. I am a chief, and I will not let that title be taken from me. Under the moon she is beautiful, like a warrior goddess of Orc legend, and I wonder what she would feel like up against me. But there is no time for such musings, and she quickly reminds me. "Now you must leave," she says, almost as if commanding me. Now I am completely free. But I don't balk at her manner. In fact, I like it. I have had plenty of time to think of how special she is as I hung here, hour after hour. My body still hurts. There is not a single inch of it that doesn't, but I muster as much strength as I can as I fight the pain. There will be time for rest and healing once I am back at the stronghold. But for now, getting away is my only priority. "Come back for me. For us," she says, this time a little softer. There is a vulnerability to her, even though she is strong and capable. I would never leave her here to be used by these animals, especially Darude. He is a beast not worthy of breathing the same air as this woman. "I will, Anna. I give you my word. I will come back for you and your sisters, and I will help you leave this hellhole." Her eyes glisten in the moonlight, and I almost want to reach out and touch her. But the only thing she needs me to do is get out of here and keep my promise to return. And this I will do. There is no doubt in my mind about it. Orcs always honor their promises, Uru being the only exception it would seem. "Go now and wait for me. I cannot promise when, but I will be back." She says nothing, just turns and slips away as I watch, hoping beyond hope that she will be okay. This woman has freed me. If not for her, I would likely end the day in pieces tomorrow, my head up on the pillar for all to see. Once she is out of sight, I steal away, picking my way through the stronghold and out towards the barricade. Though I am not at my full strength, there is still plenty in me, especially now I am free of my restraints. It is a relief to feel my body again, blood flowing and the muscle flexing. But I don't expect to get out of here without incurring some resistance, and when I get to the barricade, I come across it. 2 of them stand guard, though they do not seem to be taking their job that seriously as they drain tankard after tankard. I watch them for a while, waiting for the right opportunity to strike. When one of them turns and walks away for a piss, I decide this is my time, still angry thinking about being pissed on before. While his dick is still in his hands, I stalk over to him, a sharp rock in my hand that I bring down onto his skull. He drops like a stone. As he falls, his comrade notices and drives hard at me. Quickly, I pull the machete from the downed orc's belt and draw it across the belly of the oncoming orc. He drops to the floor, his intestines decorating the ground next to him. I finish off the first one, then cross the barricade. I am free. Running as fast as my tired, cold, and hungry body will take me, I am determined to make it, crossing the terrain swiftly back towards my clan. Each step gives me strength. Safely away from the territory, I can only hope that my skirmish did not cause too much attention. The last thing I need is them hot on my heels as I race towards my own stronghold. And I need to be quick. Not only for my own sake, but to get back for the women. For Anna. As I march on, hearing no one on my trail, her face enters my mind, and my steps quicken. Whatever happens, I will face this. Just as she does. Brave, courageous Anna. If Uru is now the clan leader, then I will have no choice but to challenge him. And with the fury inside me at this point when I think of that treacherous prick, he will stand no chance. Besides, I am fighting for something more than just my honor and rank within the Battlescar clan. Back at the Broken Bone stronghold, there is someone who is relying on me, and there are many more who are relying on her. I have made a promise, and I will keep it. For her, nothing else will do. And if Uru thinks he is going to get in the way of that, then he surely knows nothing of what Korthar, chieftain of the Battlescar clan, is made of. But I will gladly show him.
Chapter 12. Anna. The bliss of sleep barely takes hold before commotion outside the hut bolts me upright. I'm still rubbing my eyes, listening hard as the Broken Bones clan is in an uproar, and I don't think it's about the women this time. Did I do that? I have to wonder. I peek through a crack in the wall to find a guard being beaten within an inch of his life. He takes it better than a human might, but blood is flying wildly off the switch one of the orcs wields against the offender. The other orcs are gathered around, staring gleefully at the monstrous treatment of their peer. I waste no time in the distraction and slip out of the hut. The other women have been traumatized by what they've suffered. It's only right I'm there to offer a glimmer of hope on this dark, dark night. I ease the door open, and many hands drag me in. The look of fright is their only commonality. We are sisters in fear. Korthar was right in a way. I bite my lip, wishing I could do more than what I'm about to say. We'll get out of here soon. My eyes stray to the girl who'd been partially scalped and beaten by the brutes. I meet her eye with determination. She, who needs to hear this the most. I promise. The backdrop of the beating, the deep hollers of an orc. It doesn't bode well to our future. How can you promise that? It's the youngest of us. She's sporting an impressive mouse around her left eye, likely from whatever creature had claimed her last night. We'll never get out of here alive. I catch her elbow and give her a reassuring squeeze. Yes, we will. Earlier tonight I released their prisoner. He's a chieftain of a contending tribe. He promised he'll get us out of here. There's a hush among the women as they look to one another. We just have to wait a bit longer, I say, my heart sinking a little. How long? I hear the question ringing in the silence. I shake my head at the question no one has the strength to ask. We have to trust him. We can't trust any of them. They're all the same, says one woman from the back. They will use us up. Then when they're done, they'll kill us like they're killing their own. The screams have become waning bleats outside. I don't know how to rally them. Until Korthar comes back. Who knows what the orcs will do to us? Maybe Darude will finally get fed up with my evasive tactics. Maybe I'll run out of the powder that's kept me from the worst of his passions. One of the quiet ones finally speaks up. I trust you, Anna. Someone else puts a hand on my shoulder. Me too. Others murmur their agreement. My heart swells, and I take their hands and kiss them for the burdens they've bore, for the burdens they will bear. I don't know what the future has in store for us, but I have to believe it will get better. For me, for them. We huddle together in the peace of our room, away from the brutality. Stomachs growl around me, and I recall Korthar's savage hunger on the pillar. We need food too. These broken bones clansmen care only for their gratification, and nothing else. I've been lucky to serve Darude only so that I might eat as well. I didn't imagine they'd let their playthings starve like this. Were we not such valuable assets as to warrant a payment to Bunker 45? Did they not wish to have us warm their beds through winter? I suppose, though, that it's impossible to hope that they could think so far ahead. What miserable creatures orcs are. Well, I thought, surrounded by my sisters, not all orcs. It wasn't like me to trust so easily, but I'd seen the gleam of integrity in Korthar's yellow eyes, so different from his kin. Or maybe his clan was different than what we'd witnessed. I can only hope. The commotion outside dies down. Whatever unfortunate fate the guard met, it didn't sound pretty. The women clutch at my soured clothes tightly, holding their breath in anticipation. It seems that orcs need something to destroy, or they get bored quickly. We're the most likely targets. Tears come. They know. Without a word, they understand what comes next. The only question is, who? It could be one of us. It could be all of us. But I won't leave their side for Darude's. These are my sisters, and I have to fight for them in all the ways I know how. We've come this far together. And with Korthar's help, we'll be free. An argument starts up outside the door. We listen with grave intent. She wasn't in the chieftain's chambers. There's no way she escaped with the brute. She must be in here. I hold my breath to listen better. That's when the door swings open. 2 sets of yellow eyes pan our cowering group, and one of them spots me. "There's the bitch!" The other storms in and grabs me by the arm, shaking me free of the other women. I can taste his rancid breath as he drags me in close. "The chief wants to see you." I try to keep my expression neutral, if not innocent. The trick doesn't work on him. Pain lances up my arm as he yanks me from the room, at the quiet protest of the other women. I get one last good look at their miserable faces before the door slams shut, and I'm escorted to Darude's private hut. My heart leaps into my throat. My skin goes clammy. Do they know it was me who freed Korthar from the pillar? It seems all too likely, and I'm about to face the heat of the chieftain's wrath.
Chapter 13. Korthar. I drag my exhausted body over the last hillock, seeing the lights of my clan burning bright under the stars. I'm relieved, if only to be finished with this part of the battle. The greater struggle ahead is where I need my true strength. Uru, I'm coming for your head, I think. Fury making my limbs shake with anticipation. I have to wonder what they're celebrating up there. There was little enough food to go around. Even the reckless Uru would know better than to squander it on something so frivolous as a chieftain feast. Unless he is that selfish. After what he's done to me, anything's possible. I step into the edge of light, recognizing surprised faces. "Korthar!" one of my clanmates asks in earnest, standing from his position around the bonfire. More join him. "Korthar, is that you?" I don't have the words to spare. "I challenge Uru for the title of chieftain." Their faces are long in the flickering light. "But Korthar, Uru's dead!" Something heavy lifts off my chest, but I still cannot believe the words that have come from Aid's mouth. "What?" "He's dead," another reassures me. "Jediah is chieftain now." That's when I see my cousin's face as he approaches from the gloom. "Korthar," he says, his golden eyes wide. You're alive. Jediah? What is the meaning of this? I ask, looking around to spot the traitor. Where is Uru? I have some choice words for that bastard of an orc. You'll have to swallow them down, cousin, he says with a blooming smile. I killed the fiend myself when he came back without you. We knew what he had done by the poison we found in his pouch. He tried to lie to us, but we know you. You would not have fallen so easily. And here you are. My strength reserved for the fight wanes, and my clanmates catch me before I fall. Many supportive hands are on me, and I realize I'm home. You didn't come for me. Uru said you died, someone behind me says. Jediah nods. There was hardly any poison left. We figured he'd fed your body to a wild flock of percherons to cover his tracks. But that's not the case, it seems. We must celebrate. Jediah claps me on the back, even as I'm righted. You don't know how much of a relief it is to see your ugly tusks. You are chieftain now? It wasn't a title I took gladly. He links an arm under my shoulders and hoists me against him until I can stand on my own. I will not contest you for it, if you wish to claim it. Believe me, I'm happy to be rid of the responsibility. Though my clansmen gather around for a real celebration, I wave the notion away. There's not time to celebrate, cousin. It was the broken bones that struck a deal with Uru. They have human women, and one of them saved my life. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for Anna. There's a stillness among their ranks. Jediah looks me over. Human women. I nod. They are frail little things. Hardly a contender for the broken bones. How did one ever manage to free the likes of you? You haven't seen her, cousin. She's a resourceful one. Jediah's smile spreads wide. You fancy her? Enough to fulfill my promise. My jaw is firm when I look around at my clansmen. They have resources enough to survive us through winter. They have women that could further our race if we treat them well. Those beasts don't know what riches they have stowed away, and they are distracted by their own quibbling. We shouldn't hesitate when we have the upper hand. Now is the time for war. The bloodthirsty expressions spread through the group, and a cheer rises up. I find my strength among them, standing to my full height. Are you with me? They roar in unison, raising their fists and weapons. For so long the broken bones have trampled on our grounds. No longer. My voice booms easily after spending so long in silence and shame, the hoarseness giving my tone a sinister edge. Will you abide watching your clansmen starve beside you? Or will we feast on the spoils of victory? Another roar shatters the night air. Our blood races. Our tusks are bared. Then stand with me, your chieftain. Stand with your brothers of the Battle Scar clan, and we'll take back what we've lost and so much more. We march when the moon begins its descent. Tonight. That final roar echoes through the trees. I hope Darude can hear our resolve from his petty throne. I hope he quakes in fear at the beast he's woken in me. My body sings with sweet revenge. Uru is dead, and the broken bones are soon to follow. We are hungry, but our hunger will drive us to victory in ways Darude cannot begin to fathom. They are fat on their gluttony. They do not know what it is to be desperate. We'll teach them the meaning of the word before we blot them from this earth. My clansmen sharpen their weapons for the battle to come. Jediah pulls me aside, his eyes gleaming with intent. You are sure about this? I've never been more sure of anything in my life. I crave the taste of my enemy's blood. Do you not want revenge for all they've done to us, cousin? A shadow passes over his eyes. I want revenge. Good, I say, grinning even as his smile spreads once more. Because I would be proud to fight alongside you, Jediah. He claps me on the shoulder, looking impressed. This is why you are chieftain, and not me. Several members of our clan let out a hoorah at that, making Jediah throw his head back with a laugh. You see how they disrespect me? I clap him in turn. It's so good to be home. Now let's protect it.
Chapter 14. Anna. I don't struggle, but the damned orcs manhandle me anyway. Like they're trying to tear me apart, they haul me in between their hulking forms. My feet aren't touching the floor anymore, and neither of the beasts seem to know how to work in unison, so I fear one of my bones is going to snap in two when they yank. I'm almost grateful when they throw me to the dirt floor, face first. But when I look up, my fortitude dissolves. Darude sits in his throne, with poor Kara kneeling at his feet, and a thick rope secured around her neck as if she's his pet. His clawed foot absently rubs her bare thigh, like he's warming his calloused skin on her milky flesh. It's his face, though, that argues my fate. His brow is crumpled with disgust, his yellow eyes sharpened on me, like he knows how I've tricked him. My body starts to quake. I'm losing my nerve, and any semblance of resolve is quickly evaporating. Darude's voice is a disappointed rumble. I think I've been rather generous with you lot, letting you warm my bed and roam freely about my grounds. I also think... He scrubs his oversized fingers through Kara's hair until it falls over her face. His fingers clench, causing her to gasp as her eyes meet mine. That you're all a bunch of meddling little humans. I paid handsomely for you, and this is how you repay me. I scramble to my feet, only to be thrown forward by one of the guards. A foot is planted on my back, so I can't inhale the dusty air with any real success. I can see Darude's ugly green legs from this vantage point, and that's about it. His voice is louder and harsh with bound fury. You're a cunning little witch, Anna. I'll give you that. He stands, releasing Kara to the ground, and paces around me. His guards let up, but I refuse to rise. I don't think my limbs will support me. He nudges my thigh, then drags my pants down and squeezes my bare ass, then splaying it open for his whole guard to see. She doesn't look like a woman who's been in a rough and tumble with me, has she? The guards murmur their agreements as I'm looked over. I bury my face in an elbow, knowing where this is going to go. My evasive tactics until now have been successful, but my luck has just run out. He claps my ass, hard. My whole frame jolts at the assault as he continues. We'll fix that, then I'll let the rest of my clan have their way with you until there's nothing left to play with. I peek through my hair at Kara, who glances away with a frown. Tears spring to my eyes as someone grabs my leg and drags me to the centre of the room. No! Comes my cry, unfettered and desperate. Please, Darude, don't do this! They laugh at my expense, and Darude shoves me into his guard's care. Tie her down nice and tight. We don't want this witch getting away before I've had my fun. Big hands are on me, forcing my struggling frame onto a table as ropes lash around my limbs. One of the guards moves to gag me, his thumbs massaging painfully the muscles of my jaw before he jams the length of rope into my mouth. My fleeting hope that Korthar will come before they ruin me is fading by the second. Every grope and tug further seals my fate. No doubt his settlement is far from here, and he's only been gone a handful of hours at most. It will be another day before he comes, and by that time I'll be dead. Tears chase lines through the dust on my face as Darude towers over me with a menacing grin. He's chosen his new woman, the young woman Kara, and now I'm just fodder for his sick cravings. No one's going to save me. My ribs hurt from the way my body's arched. I couldn't wriggle out if I tried, and with 3 sets of hungry yellow eyes on me, I don't have a chance in hell of saving myself. My pleas are muffled by the gag when Darude splays my legs open. His expression darkens when he looks me over. Even the fever dreams are no comparison to this. His thick hands slide up my arse and hoist me up to the level of his crotch. Too bad your magics will die with you. Unwanted heat chases to my core. My body's responding to his desire and I hate it. I can't look at him, I don't dare. Instead, I fall into myself, away from the monstrous things they'll do to me before they act on their lust. My vision blurs as I focus on a strange light on the ceiling. It's not like the cold illumination in Bunker 45. It's flickering. A little bonfire where there shouldn't be one. The harsh chortles of the orcs around me fade, and I can hear the muted crackling like it's right in front of my nose. The little bonfire grows, and with it the smell of smoke. My senses sharpen again, and something's changed. Darude is no longer torturing me with cruel promises. He's gone quiet, shoving past his subordinates, and runs out of the hut. I hear it too, the thing that drew him away. There's another commotion outside. The guards look up. "Fire!" one says. His partner growls. "Put the damned thing out before it burns the whole hut down." Even as he says it, he's already grabbing at his water skin and shoving it at the other. They scramble to right the flame, but behind my gag, I can't help a strained and senseless giggle. Korthar, I think, tugging at my bindings. You made it. Chapter 15. Anna. The noise sends the orcs running outside, leaving me alone and free to untie myself, which I manage to do, despite the strength of their bonds. Once I am free, I slip outside, the commotion allowing me to go undiscovered as the orcs rush to defend their stronghold. This must be an attack. The sky is orange, the fire growing with each passing second as huge arrows, their flames flying, batter the stronghold. I scream as one lands at my feet and notice that this isn't an arrow but a lance. The force with which these are being delivered is huge, and the buildings stand no chance as they erupt into flames. My legs shake, but still I run, desperate to avoid the orcs and the oncoming flames. What the hell is this? Is it Korthar? And if it is, does he plan to kill me too? Because if this is a rescue operation, then he is taking one hell of a risk with his barrage of flames. More than anything, I need to get to the others. If they are bound, then they stand no chance once they are hit by one of these. As quick as I can, I make my way to them, the battle cries, the smoke and the carnage making it hard to focus on my path. But I get there eventually. Relief floods me when I see that the hut where they are being kept is free of flames. That relief is short-lived. My heart drops to the floor when I enter, to find most of them dead, and the few that aren't seriously wounded. Not thinking about what would happen if I am heard, I release a long, desperate and angry wail, tears burning my cheeks. How could this be? The youngest amongst them looks up at me, her face bruised and bloody, her chest taking in short, ragged breaths. She can be no more than 17 years old, and if my heart was broken before, now it has blackened and withered. "Darude's men," she manages, blood spilling from her mouth. "They did this. Run. Please go before they find you." My hand grabs hers, and I look deep into her eyes. "I'm so sorry," I say, sobbing. "This is my fault." "No, you did what you needed to. Thank you, Anna. No one has ever looked out for us that way. Now go." "I can't leave you." "You must. It's too late for us now, but not for you. I have failed them. They are dead and dying because of me. As much as I hear what she is saying, I should remain here and die with them. I tried, and I failed, and now I must pay the consequence, as they already have." When the large figure enters the room, I know that this is it. I close my eyes and wait for what is coming. Whatever happens now, I am powerless to stop it. Bracing myself for the blows, I think of what might have been, had my plan worked. Of freedom, of the sun on my back and the feel of the summer grass under my feet. "Anna, we must go now." "Korthar." I open my eyes and see him clearly as he steps forward. He is, as I remember him, though he is strong now and covered in orc blood. Not the same weak orc that was left hanging on the pillar for days. "I can't leave them," I protest. Though I can hardly believe it is him and that he has kept his promise, I did not account for this. This was about more than just saving my own skin. It was about them, about all of us. He takes a look around, at the devastation that fills the space. You can do nothing for them now. You must come with me if you are not to meet the same fate. Take her, please, says the girl on the floor. She must leave. I have never been so tormented. The feelings of rage and despair so strong it is hard to even think straight. But I can't leave them. I won't. I mean it, Anna. We must go this minute, he shouts. We have made good ground, but Darude's men outnumber us, and will be upon soon if we do not go. It is the first time that I have seen the fierceness in him, though even that will not persuade me otherwise. I shake my head, and he steps forward, his huge form looming over me. When I look up at him, I see the determination in his eyes. He reaches down and grabs me, his hands wrapping around my waist as if it is a wrist. I thrash at him as he slings me over his shoulder, but my fists are nothing against his muscular frame. Tears of grief and frustration drip down his back as I continue to beat at his shoulders. Though I know my blows will be of no consequence to him, it makes me feel better, as if I am doing something, as if I still have some power left, though in truth I know I have none. I made a promise, he growls. An orc always keeps his word, Anna. I'm sorry for the loss of your friends, but I am losing men out there too. He tries his best to force me to be still, his strong arms gripping me like a vice. You can fight me all you like, but the decision has been made. Once again, I have no choice about where I am headed. That has been made for me. I muster every last scrap of energy that I have as I rain down blows on his back. This is not the way it was supposed to be. Shadows pass before my eyes and I hear Darude's men entering. Korthar roars and I feel his hand at my neck before everything goes black.
Chapter 16. Korthar. After a lightning assessment of their size and strength, I have no choice but to charge at them with her draped over my shoulder. This takes them by surprise, and they crash through the wall of the hut and to the ground. Dropping her to the ground as swiftly as I can, I take advantage of my position, picking up a still-lit lance and driving it through the heart of one of them. I taste the blood that spatters my face as I withdraw it, and as the other gets to his feet, drive it into his neck before he can get to me, ever conscious of the woman I have left on the ground. The gurgling noises that escape him are all I need to know that, even though he is still standing, he will be dead within the minute. Within seconds, he drops to the floor. I reach down and sling her over my shoulder once again. She is still unconscious as I surge through the stronghold, jumping over the bodies that clutter the ground. To my great relief, most of them are broken bones, though I notice some of my own amongst them. But they are fighting well, as they always do for me, and I am proud to call them my men. More than anything, I'm glad to see the broken bodies of my enemies, the ones that brought me here, the ones who tortured me, beat me, and pissed on me. Yes, an orc always keeps his word, and I promised them and myself that I would be back to destroy them. The broken bones will now be broken, and I will celebrate when the job is done. As I approach the barricade, someone steps in front of me, his body silhouetted against the flames. Instinctively, I know who it is. I think you have something of mine, Darude growls. Though I cannot wait to get my hands on him, I don't want to take the risk with the woman. I have seen what he does to human females. The man is a beast. I hope you did not pay too much for her, Darude, because you will not be getting her back. She belongs to me now. Ha! He scoffs. You waste your time, fool! The woman has already been claimed. My laughter punctures the air. Me the fool? It isn't me who is the fool, Darude. This woman has more intelligence than you know. I think I know a lot more about what that woman has than you do, he says, smiling darkly. Think being the operative word, idiot. You have not laid a finger on her. In fact, all you have done is fall asleep and believe that you have claimed her. She has tricked you with her potion, you and your flaccid member. His eyes darken. Now it is his turn to be humiliated, and I am going to enjoy every single second of it. That witch! He roars, charging at me. I will tear her to pieces. From the corner of my eye, I see Jediah. He will not intervene between two chieftains. It is more than his life's worth. But I throw the woman to him before I am knocked to the floor. Darude pounds at my face before pressing it into the ground. I will crush your skull, he says, and then feed the contents to your men. The pain sears me, but I manage to bring my knee up sharp between his legs. Collapsing on top of me, his face twists. Looks like you'll never get any action now, I say, grinning through bloodied teeth. I roll him off me and jump to my feet. He groans on the floor and I stalk around him. I feel the battle coming to a standstill as the warriors from both sides watch their chieftains go to war, one-on-one. Get up and fight like a leader, I roar, spitting at him. I see the determination in his eyes. He cannot afford to be humiliated by me, especially in front of his own men. An orc's pride is worth more than anything to him, and I will strip him of every last ounce. Darude scrabbles to his feet, taking his bloodied machetes from his belt. I release the blades in my gloves. There is a reason we are the Battlescar clan. I will mark him so that he will never forget me. We clash, the force so strong I hear the murmurs from the men that surround us. I drive my blades into the tops of his arms, and he yells, before removing one hand and swiping it across his face. Blood sprays across us and seeps into the ground. The next thing I feel is the sting at my back as a machete is drawn across it. But I do not show him that it hurts. Bringing my leg up, I kick him in the guts, and he stumbles backwards, his face savage. Behind him, I see the fire growing, the smoke now claiming the air and threatening to overtake us. I pick up a fallen lance and throw it full force in his direction, but he is quick, and it narrowly misses him, before taking down one of his men behind. One less broken bones. I find another, and this time it drives through his leg as he falls in agony to the ground. I catch the worried look from Jediah as the flames lick the night sky. There is no time for this. If we don't go, this stronghold will be the death of all of us. The fire is too big to do battle in. The screams of the fallen can be heard and the smell of charred flesh hits my nose. I take a last look at Darude and at the woman in the arms of Jediah and make the call to retreat. Let the broken bones burn to death. My job here is now done.
Chapter 17. Anna. I wake in a bed, the blankets heavy and the stuffed mattress beneath me comfortable, but I am confused and have no idea where I am. Given the fact that I am in relative comfort, I can only hope it is somewhere safe. As I become more aware, the memories come back to me, piece by painful piece. The bodies of the women that lay on the floor of the hut and the tortured faces of those still living. Not that I expect them to be alive now. I remember Korthar grabbing me, slinging me across his shoulder. This must be the Battlescar clan's stronghold. If I could, I would gladly slip back into unconsciousness. At least then I would not have to deal with any of this. Though I don't remember sustaining any injuries, my head throbs and my body hurts. I am drowning in grief and guilt and anger. My plan, that I felt so sure could work, has led to this. I brought an early and painful death to their doors, and I wish I had joined them. If not for Korthar, I surely would have. My sobs must have alerted him to the fact I am now awake, as he appears in the doorway. I remember the determination on his face, as he commanded me to leave with him, and the feel of his strong arms as he took me, against my will. "You are awake," Korthar says awkwardly. He enters the room, stopping by the side of the bed. He can hardly look at me, and it all comes back to me, how I refused to go with him and beat at his back, how he held me against my will. "I trust you feel well," he says. Is he kidding me? I'm sobbing my heart out. Is this Orc for real? I have never felt worse in my life. "Can I get you something?" he says, Food or... He trails off, providing comfort obviously not one of his strong points. Not that that should be much of a surprise. He's an orc after all. How about the women you left behind? Could you get me those, please? I snap. He flinches at my words and my tone, though I care little for his feelings in this moment. How could you leave them, Korthar? Some of them could have lived. You made a promise. Korthar steps back and lets out a deep breath. There was nothing I could do, Anna. I made a promise to come back for you and the other women. I did that. How was I to know that Darude would get to them before me? You left them to die. I made a decision to save you, as we agreed, as you saved me. There was nothing that could be done for them. Darude and his men had seen to that. You are no different to Darude, I yell. His nostrils flare, and for a split second, I think I may have gone too far. But I don't care. I am grieving for my sisters, and nothing that he can do will cause me any more pain that I already feel. I am to blame for their deaths. This is on me. I think we both know that is not true, he growls. As you lie there comfortably in your bed, with water at your side and food that can fill your belly waiting for you, should you want it. He paces back and forth, his hands on his hips, his face growing fierce. And I kept my promise, he said. You did not. You agreed to come back for me and for the women. You left them there and they were still alive. Barely, he bellows. I am more accustomed to injury than you are, Anna. They would not have lasted the night, trust me. I did what I needed to do, what I said I would do, and yet still you chastise me. I glare back at him, the rage inside threatening to burst my seams. Pulling the blanket over me, I turn over in the bed to face the wall. I can't look at his face anymore, not when their faces are still so fresh in my mind. Have it your way, Anna. If you need anything, then someone will attend to you. Rest and get well, he says flatly, before slamming the door behind him. I wonder how he is so able to deal with this. All of the war, the blood, the death. To him it seems as natural as breathing. Yet I don't think I will ever get those women out of my mind. Maybe that is just one of the things that separates humans from orcs. I try to see it from his point of view. He did return, just as he said he would, and he was more than adamant that he was taking me with him, even if he had to do it by force in the end. I certainly did not make it easy for him. Maybe I have been too harsh on him. After all, he could have chosen not to come back for us, and to leave me when I refused to go with him. But he didn't. Yet nothing will convince me that we did the right thing by leaving them behind. Even now, as I remember her pleading with me to leave, then pleading with Korthar to get me out of there. Even as she lay dying, her only thoughts were of me getting to safety. But there is nothing I can do about it now. They are dead because of me, and I am not. I am here now in the hands of Korthar and his clan. The responsibility on my shoulders is the heaviest burden I have ever carried. Yet once again I have no choice. It is my burden to bear.
Chapter 18. Korthar. I burn with an unfamiliar fury as I leave the hut. How dare she, I think, forcing my feet to move away from Anna, lest I say something I regret. Jediah tries to make conversation, but I brush past him. Maybe he means to talk about the spoils we gained from besting the broken bones. Somehow, I can't find it in myself to care. Not right now. All that we'd lost to save her, and she spits in my face. I did what I could for her sisters, but it wasn't enough. They were as good as dead by the time we arrived, beaten by Darude's orcs, or caught in the crossfires of battle. They're as weak as Jediah assumed, and I have to wonder if Anna isn't the same. Maybe I mistook that fire in her for desperation. She would have done anything to escape, even charm me. Have I been charmed? Will she be like Uru, who smiled at me while he slipped poison in my water? No, I correct myself. She saved me, first. I grit my teeth in frustration. I'm still furious at her, regardless. Damn woman! I growl under my breath, storming from our encampment and into the cold winter night. It has come too early. I would have left her in the smoldering ruins of the camp if it were summer. It's all she deserves after comparing me to that tyrant. 3 of my clansmen died to see her safe. They knew the consequences, but they would not have perished if she didn't need rescuing. I, in my rush, should have better prepared my clan for battle, and maybe they'd be celebrating with the others tonight. And maybe Anna might have died instead. The notion comes to me, unwelcome. I chew on that thought, wondering which I prefer. There were marks on her wrists that weren't there when I was a captive. Darude had planned for her, before we interrupted them. My insides clench at the thought. I hate to admit it, but I'm glad she's safe. But it doesn't change what she said. It won't work, having her here. I saved her because I thought... I don't know what I thought. Maybe that she could make a healthy mate, when we have no women of our own to breed with. It's her beauty, her soft curves that got to my head. When I laid my eyes on her, reason abandoned me, and I did as she asked without question. Well, now I have questions. The most pressing being, how the hell to get rid of a human in winter? But I felt her frail hide. I know the elements will not be kind to her if I send her off with a skin of rations and our best wishes. She will die lost, wandering in the wilderness. That's something I cannot permit, even if she tricked me. Gods, I muse aloud, glancing up at a sky that's gone gray while I pondered. What do I do? And with that, the first flakes begin to fall, making my heart sink. Winter's here. The elements have spoken. I will keep her until this desolate white lets up, and then she will be returned to her people where she belongs. I let out a long sigh and trek back to the encampment. I avoid the thickest of the celebration and slip into my hut, expecting a sour face and some choice words for me. Instead, I find her curled on her side, a fur thrown to the floor as she shivers fiercely. I pick it up and drape it over her. Anna! She doesn't answer, not even a flicker of recognition in her pained expression. I place a hand on her back, feeling the sweat-soaked garment and her hot skin beneath. How can she be hot and cold? I'll get the healer, I assure her. How quickly she's succumbed to the weather already. I don't know how she'll survive through the winter. I throw my door open and holler for Urag. He comes without delay, swaying from the wine and excitement carrying on outside. You called me, Chieftain? I grab him by the arm and drag him to Anna's side. The human has taken ill, and the furs will not stop her shaking. What do we do? Urag kneels beside her and checks her vitals. He observes her strained breathing and hot skin before standing. She needs warmth, or she will die. Which I have given her, I say, waving at the furs. No, he corrects gently, putting his palms together. She needs warmth from another's skin. Her body is suffering greatly. She won't survive the night without it. I look Anna over, so small and helpless in my large bed. I wonder what it is that makes me cave. Fine then. My voice is but a murmur when I dismiss him. Thank you, Urag. He bows out in silence, leaving me alone with her. I sink to my knees on the bed, hovering over her with indecision. I tuck her blonde hair back before shifting until I'm beside her. Her every muscle is quivering with this fever. I pull my leathers open and drag her against my bare chest. She fits perfectly there, and her body begins to unclench from the racking tremors. I breathe evenly until she settles, her slick skin cooling. Urag could have done the same with similar effect, but the thought of him snuggled up with her makes me scowl at no one. No, I much prefer this. She came to me for help, and it's only fitting I be the one to protect her. I worry that she won't wake up. When did I become so involved in her well-being? I lean in and press my lips to her forehead, sensing that fever going down already. The sweet scent wafting off her skin gives me the answer. I think I'm starting to like this little human.
Chapter 19. Anna. I try to move, but something heavy weighs down on my tired limbs. My eyes fly open and I find that I'm pressed against endless emerald leather. I bite back my first instinct to scream, sucking in a breath as I look up in horror. But it's not Darude's disgusting face I see. It's cleaner, almost gentle in sleep. Korthar. He has me tight in his grip, so that I can't wriggle my way out. I'm pressed completely against him, feeling every hard edge of his massive body. I control my rapid breathing and allow myself to think. Last night, it's a blur, after Darude's guards dragged me away, of terror and flames. My cheeks flush as I attempt to slip out of his embrace again, but I have no purchase to do so. I give up, frustrated that I like the warmth of him. And he's not so bad, by Orc standards. I've seen some ugly mugs in the Broken Bones tribe, and he wouldn't make the list. In fact, he's almost handsome, now that he's not starved, beaten and lashed to a pillar. I explore the ridges of his chest, surprised at how soft his deep-hued skin is. They're all so rough I didn't imagine they could feel like velvet. I'm made more confident by the fact that he hasn't woken yet. My movements must feel like the flutter of a moth's wing against him. He's so big, and I'm so small. It's frightening, but it's strangely comforting too. I could get lost in him. He shifts, pulling me tighter against him. I can't do anything but accept it as he drags me onto his stomach, his head falling to one side against the furs. He takes a big breath, then drifts down into sleep. I sense it when his breathing goes shallow again. I lift my head and look up at him. He's bulkier than even the guards that had manhandled me, and probably taller by a foot or so. No wonder he's a chieftain. His reach would ensure his victory in any fair fight. When I first saw him on that pillar, I couldn't imagine he'd do any harm. Now, I'm apprehensive, at best. What will he expect of me when he wakes? I shudder to think he'd throw me to his clan as a victory prize, or claim me himself. Why else am I here in his bed? I have to hope he's as reasonable as he looks, or I don't know that I can survive another Darude. My breath quickens. This time, when I urge myself upright, his arms release me. I sit atop him, my skin tightening in the frigid air. I want to fling myself back onto him just for the warmth, alone. But I brace myself. I can't give in. I'm stronger than that. I consider my options. I could run, clamber off the bed to brave his clansmen and the weather outside. It's not impossible to survive the winter. I'd just have to be smart about it. But could I live, constantly running from him? He stole me from the Broken Bones. I don't know that he won't keep pursuing me if I do flee. My fingers rest on the small of his tight stomach that radiates heat. If I had to choose a master, I wonder if he'd be kinder than the monsters that cornered me before. There are sounds outside this dark room. His clan is waking. I only have a little time before any hope of escape narrows to zilch. But I'm trapped by indecision. Could I abide his passions, if I stayed? Surely that's all he wants me for, or else why rescue me? Why protect me from the elements? I look over the edge of the bed, and my head spins. The drop is a long one. I could twist an ankle trying to get down. These orcish structures are not made for humans, that much is certain. I glance back at him. He's starting to rouse. My body tightens as a definitive pressure builds against my backside. I go rigid. Oh no. His lashes flutter, and all the leader's warnings come roaring back. Orcs are bigger than humans in every respect. I scramble off his lap to witness exactly how much bigger. His leather leggings have a hard time concealing anything, and it's not a reasonable size. He's huge, as thick as a sturdy branch, and almost as long as my forearm. My fear gets the better of me, and I liberate myself from the furs, only to fall off the bed and onto the cold ground with a decisive thud. My hip and shoulder connect first, sending a rattling shock through my skeleton. The air whooshes out of me, and I groan at my luck. A green face appears over the bed, confused and laced with exhaustion. "You're awake." I scramble upright, eyes wide, ignoring the pain. Korthar levers up on an elbow, seeming oblivious to the raging boner he's sporting. A lazy smile breaks over his features before he seems to realise I'm not exactly jumping his bone. Confusion sets in the soft lines of his face. "What's wrong, Anna?" I shake my head, unable to look at him. I'm burning up, and this time it's not from the fever. I keep my lips screwed shut and my gaze down as I rush towards the exit. I don't want to put my back to a beast like him, but I can't let him getting any ideas either. He doesn't pursue, and I'm grateful for it. I don't know what it means to be his, but for now, at least, he's not cornering me with expectation. When I open the door, a freezing gust of wind chills me to the bone. I don't have the right clothes for this time of year. Still, it's better than staying in Korthar's massive hut. It's too hot in here anyway.
Chapter 20. Korthar.
The paralysis of sleep takes a moment to fade from my strong limbs.
I recall Anna's silhouette, haloed by fresh fallen snow, and know she is under-equipped to survive the hostile clutches of winter. I have to find her before she succumbs to the elements. She couldn't even look at me this morning, after I saved her life twice. Are all humans so irrational? With a sigh, I rise and prepare myself for the day's events. My clansmen won't let her run away, not after we'd fought so hard to pry her from Darude's filthy grasp. Hopefully they'll treat her with respect, even if her words are sharper than our spears. I make my way to the main hall. The building is quieter than usual. They must be sleeping off the wine, I think, but when I enter the main chamber, the council is already assembled and waiting for me. Even though I'm the chieftain, my blood runs cold beneath their silent authority. Korthar, one says, standing as is appropriate under the circumstances. The others follow suit, waiting until I take my seat across from them before sitting as well. Your little human has already made trouble with Jediah this morning. He assured us that she's being well kept while we speak. I almost stand, maintaining a cool disposition as anger flares in my chest. I refuse to let it show in these halls, lest they threaten to adjourn. Where is she? Safe, he says. Likely returned to your hut by now. I grit my teeth, but my spine remains rigid. What matter has called you all to the table, honorable council members? The human, whom we've gone to great lengths to rescue from the Broken Bones clan. You do not need to worry about her, I say, keeping my voice low. Once spring comes, I will release her to her own kind, and the matter will be behind us. She doesn't require as much as we do to survive, and won't be an undue burden on our supplies. One of the council members raises their finger in protest. We were under the assumption that she was your woman, Korthar. That's not exactly right. I cursed Jediah under my breath for the misunderstanding. I was exhausted from being tortured and bound. How could I know they'd take this the wrong way? She has made no agreement to breed with me. It was not that sort of deal, you understand. 3 soldiers died because of her. I know. Then there is no confusion. Her life for theirs, that is more than adequate an exchange. And most might say far too generous of one, for she is no soldier. The council member chews his thick lip, as if he doesn't like what he's about to say. She must be useful to the clan to make up for the blood debt. You are the chieftain, but we will not be swayed on this. The human must have a purpose while she resides with us. I swallow down my irritation. Battling the council will do nothing to win my case for her. What would you have me do then? They look at one another in turn, finally settling their attentions on me. I don't like the way this is going. We have decided, the eldest says, standing for the ruling. Korthar, chieftain of the Battlescar clan, since you are unmated and have decided on no orc to be your mate, you will take this human into your bed and breed with her instead. Her offspring will clear the debt to this clan, in time. 2 summers should suffice, and then you may do with her whatever you wish. I'm up before I realize it. You can't force us to go through with this. He issues a look of pity. That, Korthar, we can do. I grip the table's edge. The way her eyes darted from mine this morning, the strength she bore when she rescued me from the pillar. She deserves more than to be thrown at my feet like some prize. I don't want her to fear me like she does Darude. I don't want to be the monster in her bed and in her dreams. But if I refuse, they will pawn her off on another orc, and they might not be so kind to her. I consider the possibilities, cursing myself for wanting this. She was so vulnerable, so soft last night, nestled in my arms. I want that again. If she had not run from me this morning, I might have tried to foster something more between us, on my own. Maybe this decision by the council, completely outside of my control, will endear her to the task of bearing my children. What will it be? The council member's voice grates against the images tumbling in my mind, of us entangled, of the naughty little sounds she might make when she comes for me. I rise to my full height, strong and rested, the full image of a chieftain, after Darude's cruel handling of me. I accept your terms, honorable council. There's a grim nod from the eldest. Good. But even as he sits again, tangible relief radiates through the space. Did they think I would challenge them in battle? They would not stand a chance against me if I did. But the alternative is not so abhorrent. Not to me, at least. I do have to wonder how she'll take it. I'm glad you see it our way, the youngest of the council members say, waving his hand towards the door behind me. Because now, we'll call the human, Anna, to the council room. My skin prickles with dread. I feel her long before I see her, padding into the room beside Jediah, looking as confused and petrified as she was when I first laid eyes on her. I swallow hard, realizing this is not going to go over well with her. Not at all.
Chapter 21. Anna. The rap at my door shakes me from my slumber. Their faces are still fresh in my mind. I can't imagine a time when they will not be from here on in, whether I am awake or asleep. Before I have a chance to answer, the door is thrown open. The council have summoned you, says a female orc. Obviously, they are trying to make things more comfortable for me. She is smaller than the men, though her features are much the same. Tall, strong and muscular, with huge hips made for bearing children. I will accompany you to the main hall, she says. Gathering myself together, I wonder what the hell they want now. The last thing I feel like doing is facing these people, but by the looks of it, I will have no choice but to do as they ask. She waits for me, without closing the door as I rise, comb my fingers through my hair and make sure I am appropriately covered. Then we walk silently across the stronghold to the main hall. My blood freezes. The last time I was in one of these, it was at the Broken Bones clan, and I was being made to serve Darude, while instructing the woman how to do the same. Now there is just me. When we walk in, the first orc I notice is Korthar. We look at each other, each of obviously remembering the last words that we spoke to each other. Yet there is something else in his eyes besides anger. He knows something. Taking in a deep breath to calm the nerves that are now growing, I wonder what fate is now set to befall me. The room is silent save for their heavy breathing. They sit around a table, and it is almost civilized. 8 of them in total, as well as their esteemed leader. Come closer, one of them says. There is something that we need to discuss with you. Here goes. It can't be worse than anything I've already faced, I reason. But this existence has a way of wrenching the ground out from beneath your feet. Whatever this is, I must deal with it. There has been much discussion amongst us today about what it is that we should do with you. By the gods. We are most grateful for freeing our chieftain. There is no doubt about that. I look over at Korthar, who stares back at me blankly. But in bringing you here as part of your bargain, we have lost members of our own, as well as made even greater enemies of the Broken Bones clan, at a time when we should be focusing on surviving the winter to come. My stomach turns. Our decision is that you must now pay back your debt by breeding with Korthar, chieftain of our clan. My jaw drops. They can't be serious! Sleep with an orc, breed with an orc. As you may know, building our population is one of our main priorities. Therefore, this is the only thing that we ask of you. The only thing, I cry. My body trembles, a dizzying mixture of fear, desperation, and anger. I try to catch Korthar's eye, but he actively avoids my gaze, his own now fixed on the council member that has delivered this news. The decision has been made, he says. Korthar speaks up, finally. You will now leave us, he says to his men. The human and I have much to discuss. One by one, chairs scrape across the floor. They each bow their head at Korthar before leaving us alone together. But I am too stunned to talk, and I feel sick to my stomach. This was something that the council decided upon, he says, as though he played no part in the decision. You are their leader. They do as you say. My voice is low, the shock still working its way through my system. As a leader, there are many things that I have to do. Listening to the council is one of them. I am not a dictator, Anna. They trust me, and in return I must do the same. I let out a roar, worthy of any orc warrior. I have no words, just rage. You will get used to the idea. It is not the worst that could happen. Though you seem to think differently, I am not Darude. Oh, please, save me from your chivalrous assertions, Korthar. You are like any other orc, driven by conquest and sex. He is clenching his fists, his jaw tightening. I can assure you I am not. I will not touch you without your consent. Would that please you? Nothing about this pleases me. I cannot look at him for a second longer and storm out of the main hall, grateful that he does not follow me. This orc is unbelievable, as if I could trust him to behave in such a respectful manner. He is an orc. As the night falls, I curl up in my bed, wondering when he will appear. I have no powder left to slip him as I did with Darude. He will come and he will take me. Though it terrifies me, I also think of our bodies pressed close together in this very bed, and of the solid length between his legs. Sex with an orc is not something I ever imagined would thrill me, but as much as I have insulted him, he is not Darude. I would rather die than have him lay a hand on me. But Korthar, would that be so bad? I wait for hour after hour, yet he does not arrive. I don't know if I am relieved or disappointed, but lying here alone has given me the opportunity to think things through. There may be a way this can work out for the both of us. All Korthar needs to do it, agree to the conditions that I will now set. Chapter 22. Anna. I notice my hand shaking as I bring it to his door and knock. Taking a deep breath, I try to calm my nerves. I've got this, and he's not that bad, despite being an orc and bringing me here against my will. I am pretty sure I can convince him of my plan. After all, I've done it before. Yes, he says, and I push open the door. He looks up, a look of surprise on his face when he sees me standing there. Anna, I was not expecting you. I glance at his almost naked body, my eyes settling for longer than they should on his green, velvety skin. I wanted to talk to you about something. After all of the discussions yesterday, I had thought you would have come to... But... I trail off, stuttering and stammering all over the place. What is it? He says. I can't help but take him in. He is dressed in nothing but some cloth that covers his most intimate area. But I know what's under there, and I am distracted. My heart is thumping wildly, nervous anticipation flowing through me. How is he going to respond? There is only one way to find out. I am willing to do as you and the council ask, I say. The look on his face is priceless, as though he can't quite believe the words that are coming out of my mouth. Somewhere, deep inside, a part of me hopes that he is thrilled to finally get me into his bed. Because even though I find it hard to admit, I am not so averse to the thought. But I have a condition. I swallow hard. Go on, he says, his eyes narrowing. If I am to do this, then there is something that I need you to do for me too. Really? We did not save those women back there, and it weighs heavy on my mind. You cannot know how much. I am a chieftain, Anna. I know what it is to shoulder a burden. I lose people all of the time. Make decisions that cost lives all of the time. Then you will understand why I ask this of you, I reply. So tell me your request. There's an openness to his tone. Everything I have learned of him so far tells me he is someone who engages his mind before anything else. It is one of the things that draws me to him, strange as that seems. Still standing in the doorway, I hold my head up high, assuming an air of confidence that I don't necessarily feel. I would like you to help rescue as many of the women as you can from my bunker, because the women we left behind will not be the last that will suffer at Darude's hands. Every 6 months more will be offered as tributes. I need to stop that from happening. The space between us falls silent. If you can do this for me, then it is me that will keep my promise to you this time. I will share your bed and bear your children so that your clan can grow. I will honour this promise as you did yours. If we could just free some of those women, Korthar. His eyes are fixed on me, making me talk more than I should with the nerves. You have no idea what a life they lead, with no chance of leaving other than as a tribute to the Broken Bones clan. You saw what they did to them. It is unbearable, and I can't live another minute thinking about how many more will suffer the same fate. Not now that I have seen it for myself. Still, he says nothing, and my nerves resurface. Have I pushed him too much this time? I am hardly in a position to start making demands. If he wishes to force me into a partnership and into breeding, then I really have no choice. I can only hope that Korthar is the orc I think he is. His eyes are serious, and his face shows little sign of what he is thinking. My stomach churns. I have no idea what is going on inside him. I could almost kick myself for coming to him like this. Maybe this time I have gone too far with my demands. He makes his ways towards me with long, slow steps, covering the distance between us in no time. My heart is in my mouth as he approaches me, his huge body looming over me. He is huge, at least 2 whole feet taller than me. His hands grab my waist, tugging me close to him. They are strong, yet still gentle. Pulling me inside his room, he kicks the door closed, and I'm left here alone with him. His hand tilts up my chin, and I find myself looking into warm, golden eyes. When he kisses me, I am thrown. Everything's such a shock to my system I can barely stand. His lips are large and soft, and his tusks rake my skin. As I sink into his kiss and open my mouth, the touch of his long, hot tongue on mine sends shockwaves through my body. You are small, Anna, yet more woman than I could ever hope for, he says, before he plunges his tongue into my mouth. His strong words and his wonderful tongue undo me, and I bring my hands to his chest, feeling the thick wall of muscle that covers it. I have my answer, and I am more than willing to comply with my side of the bargain as his mouth claims mine. My body becomes limp against him as his hands roam over it, all of the anticipation, the silent longing for him rising to the surface. He looks deep into my eyes and smiles. We have a bargain, Anna. Brave, beautiful Anna. And now I can finally have you.
Chapter 23. Korthar. I told you I would not touch you unless you agreed to me doing so. I can barely tear my lips from hers, but I gave her my word and I will stick to it. She looks up at me, her eyes so soft they are almost closed, and her beautiful skin flushed the most delicious shade of pink. Smoothing her yellow hair over her shoulders, I reach down and run my tongue along her neck. Her breath catches as my tongue meets the soft skin of her neck. I stalk around her, enjoying being this close to her, taking her in from all angles. So, I murmur into her ear, "Are you sure, Anna?" "Yes," she breathes, her voice so low it is almost lost. Standing behind her, I pull her at her clothes gently. She reaches up, allowing me to lift her shirt over her head, and I continue unwrapping her. "One last time, Anna. Do you want this?" "Korthar," she moans. "Yes, I want this." Whoa, slow it down. If you let me keep going, YouTube is going to have my head. I know you want to see me give Anna much more than that, but doing so without making YouTube my sworn enemy would be impossible. If you want to listen to all the freaky things I'm about to do to Anna, you'll have to go to worldsofprotheka.com to buy the unabridged audiobook for yourself. By the abyss. This is frustrating. But if you use the code YouTube30, I'll get you 30% off of all Prothekan digital products. I'll be waiting.
Chapter 24. Anna. Korthar is right. This is definitely too freaky for YouTube. An entire chapter of the countless things he's been waiting to do to me. Such a mood killer. But you don't have to miss out on any of the steamy details. Go to worldsofprotheka.com right now and use code YouTube30 to get 30% off of all digital products at checkout. Don't take too long, okay? I'm not sure how much longer I can resist. Now, back to the story.
Chapter 25. Korthar. This time I am the first to wake. Her golden hair has fallen over her features, and her mouth hangs ajar. I touch the spot on her chin in wonderment, grinning from ear to ear. She's a little goddess, I can't help but think, and she's in my bed. I curl around her tighter, the movement rousing her. Her lobe I find with my teeth. My tongue slides up the shell of her ear before I whisper, "Good morning." After the night we had, her skin tastes deliciously of us. She leans into me, her eyes still closed. "Morning," she grumbles in turn, peeking out of one slitted eye. A smile cracks. She reddens as if just remembering what we did. I press my forehead to hers, further entangling our limbs. "You're so beautiful when you wake up. Are all humans like that?" Something in her expression changes. That fierceness I've grown to enjoy. Why? I seem to have stumbled on a taboo of some kind, because she appears offended. "Are you planning on taking another human to your bed?" I don't have the words to allay her concerns. With a deftness I thought I'd tired out of her, she frees herself from my embrace and mounts me, dragging my tusks in so our noses are almost touching. She is so little, yet she makes up for it with her strength and fury. Don't even think about it. I catch her hips and lean up, so my lips brush hers. One human is plenty enough for me. The darkness in her expression dissipates. "Good," she huffs. Then, as if she's lost all energy, she plops against my chest and snuggles in, her lips brushing the strong muscles of my neck. "You're all mine, Korthar." I chuckle and cradle Anna against me. The scent of her is intoxicating. I want to continue our excursions from last night, my fingers slipping in that wet heat between her legs. But she's still exhausted, and I have a promise to keep. "Will you release me to the council for a spell?" She doesn't move, her ribs expanding on a sigh. "Just a few more minutes. I catch the nape of her neck and rub. Of course. Our bodies fit perfectly together. We belong together. I know this, deep in my bones. No matter how different our species, I need to mate with Anna. She descended on my life and saved me. Now I want to do the same for her. I cannot get enough of her, distracted by that sweet skin until the moment the council assembles. Anna doesn't want to leave my side, if the tightness of her grip is any indicator. But this is a matter for orcs, and I do not want to be distracted. I kneel so we're closer in height, catching her face in my hands. Will you wait for me in my hut? She bites her lip but nods. I capture that soft mouth, driving in with my tongue until she yields. Her whine I inhale, cherishing these tender moments before I have to put my armor on again and become the chieftain they expect me to be. I break away too soon for my liking. Go on. Her fingers struggle to release from mine, but when they do, she slips away. I stand, steadying myself before striding into the main chamber. The madness of lust has me in its clutches, and it is difficult to think through the pounding of my heart. But I have to focus. They're already waiting for me. Thank you for joining me here, Honorable Council. I will get straight to the point. Murmurs of welcome go around their small group. Anna has told me about a place not far from here. Bunker 45. There are humans, many of them, that would be of use to us if we claim them. I say we march there with a small group of soldiers and bring them into the tribe. The eldest balks. Can we afford to spread our defenses so thin? Another shakes his head. I have fulfilled your decree, Honorable Council. Now, as chieftain, I demand you give us your blessing for this journey. We will go regardless, but I hope to stand on unified ground when I gather my soldiers. Those humans are necessary if we wish to survive. They grumble amongst one another. Do you remember the peace and prosperity of this land when we first arrived? We can have that too. The humans were not meant to live underground. They've been driven there by our presence. If we offer them security, they can share with us their secrets, and we will be all the stronger for it. I see the defeat before it's spoken. You have our blessing in this, Korthar, the eldest says. We will not stand in your way. I bow slightly, conceding my power to them. Thank you, Honorable Council. Anna is waiting for me on the bed. I can smell the anxiety rising off her in plumes. She sits in expectation of news most distasteful, so that I'm almost giddy to issue the report. I do my best to stride in with a somber expression, letting her look me over with concern. She's folded up all tidy, her legs beneath her, her hands in her lap. Well, what did they say? I try not to let a grin master me. The council gave us their blessing. Her eyes light up like I knew they would, and she flings herself off the bed and comes to me. I sweep her up in an embrace as she touches my cheeks. Tears are welling in her eyes. Thank you, Korthar. I press my cheek to hers. Anything for you? Her arms link around my neck, and she finds my mouth with hers, an insistent, relieved caress. I stumble to the bed and set her gently beneath me, her body yielding favorably. Her kiss is tearful, but I know I've won her heart, and I will prove myself to be the honorable orc she needs me to be.
Chapter 26. Anna. I can't speak to my gratitude showing Korthar through the language of touch. He wants to leave first thing in the morning, and though I would be content to lounge all evening in his arms, plans must be made. I break from the kiss first. I'm coming with you. Korthar's yellow eyes look me over. You are soft, and it's too cold. What will the others think if a band of orcs show up at the bunker? I have to be there to talk some sense into them. I huff in irritation, though he doesn't argue. My voice is gentler this time. They'll come if they see how well you're treating me. He stews in contemplation, then sits up. You will wear no less than 3 furs. That's a bit much. He catches my jaw, gently urging me to look at him. 3. I laugh, rubbing his arm. Fine. My giddiness gets the better of me, and I jounce on the bed with excitement. It's a 2-day journey. We should get started straight away. Korthar looks me over with approval, his eyes softening as he takes me in. You are such a bold little thing. I waggle one of his tusks. And don't you forget it. I won't, he growls, sliding his tongue over the ridge of my collarbone. He rumbles when I giggle at his efforts. I like it. I capture his huge face and issue a grateful smile. I hope so. The heat between us is growing again. I fear for our plans if we continue down this path. I offer him a last lingering kiss before withdrawing on a sigh. I think we should pick the orcs that are coming with us, don't you? Korthar issues a knowing smirk. They already know. Jediah will stay behind, but I've chosen my soldiers. It will be a strong fighting group. We shouldn't run into any trouble though, right? You showed Darude what for when you destroyed his encampment. I can't imagine there's anyone left to fight. That doesn't mean there won't be dangers in the woods, and especially now that it's winter, other tribes will be searching further out of their territories for resources. He toys with my blonde hair in a distracted fashion. It's better to be ready. I understand his caution. I trust you, Korthar. His eyes clear as he scans my face. Thank you, Anna. No thanks needed, I murmur, lacing my fingers in his. I know, you don't always have the final say, but you've been true to your word. I'm lucky to have found you. A rumble in his throat reverberates with promise. I am the lucky one. I redden, but he doesn't seem to notice. Or maybe he's trying not to notice, lest it leads to something more and distracts us further from our task. He stands, helping me off the bed. We make our way to the bunkers, where his men are already preparing. They have food and supplies and weapons at the ready. They are strapping up in their heavy leathers when we stride in, Korthar looking around the small assembly with a nod. They glance to me with curious looks. I am an oddity here, but soon, with their help, that will change. Through the journey, Korthar has kept me warm and protected from the elements. He's worried that my fever will return, and out in this white terrain, we don't have the comfort of the huts to protect us from the elements. It's on that second day that I recognise familiar landmarks from my previous trek. Back then, we women were huddled in fear of what was going to come next. My heart sinks for them, for the sisters I lost to Darude, but his men are decimated. We expected to have a peaceful journey, and we did. I'm relieved when we cross over the last great hill before Bunker 45. I march up to the peak and stand beside a gnarled tree. Korthar stands with me, but what we see below makes my blood run cold. It's not the quiet entrance we expected. There is blood in the snow, human blood, bright against the snow. The white is smeared with bodies, and the sound of a one-sided battle can be heard. There are shouts and screams from the humans, and the deeper bellows of orcs, nearly a dozen of them, dragging humans out and slaughtering them. I almost stumble forward when Korthar catches me. Stop, Anna. His men join us atop the hill, even as I struggle. We have to protect them. There's too many, he says, dragging me against him in a fierce embrace. We don't have enough soldiers to risk a battle. I push against him. Those are my people. The ones that sold you to the Broken Bones, he says in turn, cool, collected next to my hot outburst. We should retreat. There's nothing to be won here. Even as his soldiers move to obey, a hulking figure emerges from the bunker's entrance, laced in human blood. Darude's ugly mug is one I'd never forget, and a jolt of fear courses through me, rattling me to my core. Korthar seems to feel it, craning his neck to see what has upset me. Their eyes meet. It's a deafening snap that quiets the slaughter and the cries over the blanketed snow. It makes their soldiers pause in their efforts to kill or retreat. A sardonic grin forms on Darude's scarred face, and he raises his spear in our direction. A deafening roar escapes him, and his soldiers scramble forward, forgetting their kills for us instead. I can feel Korthar brace himself as his men stream past us. He grips my hand, almost too hard, forgetting his gentleness, then releases and flings himself forward.
Chapter 27. Korthar. We meet them on a steep decline, but they find their footing and push back on us hard, until I sense Anna close behind me. I didn't expect this. Darude had been put in his place the last time we fought. I should have known he'd muster the forces to take on the humans. After we sacked their settlement, they'd have nothing left for winter. The bodies, along with their scarce supplies, would make for ample enough resources until they could rally their strength. And then, they'd come after us. It was only a matter of time before we'd meet on the battlefield again. I raised my weapon to block a brutal sweep of an orc's axe, shifting his weight and slamming the butt of my spear against his head. I hear a succinct crunch, and the orc goes limp, tumbling down the hill before rolling to a stop at its base. But they're swarming around us. Anna shouts something. I don't hear her over the charging roar from Darude. For my soldiers, I expected a reprieve once we'd arrived at the human settlement. We're tired from our trek through the unforgiving drifts. Behind me, she yelps. I spin on my heels and spot an offender trying to drag her down the hill. Without a thought, I charge him, knocking Anna free of his grip before kicking him in the chest, sending him flying backwards to be reunited with his dead friend at the bottom of the hill. He'll be back, but he's one less orc to deal with for now. Darude is closing in, with more orcs pouring out of the human encampment. Where before I counted a dozen, I now count 17 bloodthirsty orcs at least, with gleaming yellow eyes. They're fresh for this, angry and starved for vengeance. I want to put them down and be done with the broken bones for good, but I don't know if we have the power. I sweep Anna onto my back, where I can better protect her. Her hands grip the collar of my fur as I arc and parry, swinging wildly into creatures that clamor to take her off my hands. My soldiers fight alongside me, protecting my flank to the best of their abilities. At least we did not forget our spears. Darude looks irritated that we have not fallen already. Again, desperation is on our side, even in the worst of the battle. I brought him down once, and I pray I can do it again. With the little goddess on my back, strength finds me. Their numbers are beginning to diminish. 17 have become 10. 10 have become 5, not including the bastard Darude, who stands well clear of the fight, as if he's saving his strength. His bellows are becoming strained and desperate, and I hope he gives up his ridiculous orders and joins us. My spear would fit well driven through his skull. One of his manages to come up behind me and rips Anna off my back. She tries hard to hold on, but her strength is no match for a soldier, and he pries her off. She hits the ground with an oof, even as I'm already over her, crouched with my weapon at the ready. Back off! Reason is futile. He lunges anyway, opening his whole front to me as he plunges down. I drive my spear up into his ribcage, spattering us in his fluids as I arc hard and drive him into the powder, face first. He twitches, and those around us begin to back off. 4 left. But we are all exhausted. The breathing of my soldiers is heavy, sending plumes of smoky breath into the air. Anna tries to get up. With a firm hand, I keep her down. Don't. Darude is furious. He had the numbers, the advantage, and yet here we stand. His remaining orcs have retreated slightly down the hill, hate glowing in their eyes. His next bellow is something I can understand. You spineless bastards! Kill them! I have to get down there! Anna's voice is small but assured. Even as Darude's orcs close in, I shake my head. I will not risk your safety again. She sinks to her knees as if in defeat. I release her, but that's a mistake, because the moment I do, she's leaping over dead orcs to the remaining humans. Anna! I cry, following in hot pursuit. My soldiers know what to do. They cut a line forward, through the few left standing, pushing us towards Bunker 45 so I can get to Anna. We blitz past Darude, who is now furious that he's not our highest priority. But I spring after her dark furs that bounce over the fallen snow. I don't know what I'm thinking any longer, blinded by concern for her. She makes me irrational, this little human woman. When she sinks to an injured human's side, I skid to a stop, pivoting to face our enemies. I don't see Darude any longer. He must have slipped behind a tree. He knows he can't beat me. I'm sure he still remembers the heavy beating I gave him in his home turf, not so long ago. One of mine kills one of his, silencing his death gurgle with a snap of his neck. I can breathe better, now that they're largely put down. My orcs crowd around the last one standing. It's over, Darude! I shout through the dampened forest. Retreat, while you still have your head! There is only silence, save for the groaning of injured humans. Fewer have died than I first thought, and now they're bold enough to stir from their cold beds. Anna is rousing one when a green mass bolts in her direction. Darude. My hairs all rise as he closes in on her, a lance aimed at her sweet face. Every muscle in me springs forward as she is slow to look up at the danger barreling towards her, and pain lances through my core like white fire. I don't care, I think, as the strength pours out of me. She's safe.
Chapter 28. Anna. I look up. Darude's dark smile is only bested by a vicious lance vaulting directly at my face. I can't move, frozen in fear. I will die here without ever knowing Korthar's gentle embrace again. My grief burbles to the surface, interrupted by an emerald mass that blocks the incoming attack. Hot blood hits my face. It gets in my mouth and makes the world red. Korthar's body drops in front of me hard. Darude rights himself from a distance even as I assess Korthar's massive wound, blood springing freely from his centre. I try to rub the red from my eyes, which are burning with tears. Korthar? His head turns to face me, but his gaze is unfocused. I tremble, trying to stop the flow with my bare hands. Blood weeps out between my fingers as his heart races to finish him. No, you can't die on me. Not here. I stop myself from pulling out the weapon. It will only quicken his death. Don't you dare, Korthar! My next words catch in my throat. I love you. His eyes crack open, a dull yellow. When he smiles, his teeth are laced with red, and when he opens his mouth, blood spills forth. I grit my teeth before a scream of fury erupts from me. I blink back tears, though they streak through the bloody mess of my face. I can't stop crying. Korthar's muscles spasm under my hands. More blood gushes forth. No, 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 I murmur, choking on sobs. Please. A chuckle interrupts me, growing louder and more grating with each passing moment. I feel his presence more than see him through the sheen of red blinding me. His eyes are on me, sharp with a crazed expression of hunger. I look around for Korthar's reinforcements. They are exhausted from our journey and the fighting. Some of Darude's men have rallied and joined their leader, even as I try to save mine. Get up, I say to them, who are leaning against their weapons or have fallen to their knees. They only look at Korthar, who is losing his rich colour by the second. Damn you, I hiss at them all, prying the spear out of Korthar's grip. He doesn't let go easily, but he's not strong enough to stop me anymore. It pains me to do so, but when his cold fingers release, it is a small, cruel victory. I raise its sharp point at Darude, who grins at my expense. You are a resourceful little bitch, I'll give you that. Jumping on the first orc you can find, stealing from me that sweet body of yours. Did you bed him? Is that why he cares so much for you?
Did you trick him too, you little witch?
Shut up, I say, gritting my teeth even as the weapon grows heavy. My arm starts to shake, and I know he can see it. You stay away from him. He sneers at me, taking a step closer. I don't think you have much ground left to stand on, Anna. Your chieftain is as good as dead, and his soldiers will not bother themselves to protect you. You are alone on this battlefield, and mine to claim. My voice is barely a whisper. No. Don't worry, pretty thing, he says, taking another jolting step forward. With the other orcs at his back, he is emboldened, even if he has been injured. I'll make sure you get your rounds in before you see fit to die by me. I readjust the weapon, but my strength is failing me. The cold air bites at my extremities, and it slows the blood escaping Korthar. But it's not enough. In a few minutes he'll be dead, leaving Darude to gloat over his victory. I can't let him have that. I rise on shaking legs. I'm all that stands between us and certain death. My people are rousing too, though Darude pays them no mind. I don't see the body of the doctor anywhere, and I have a good feeling he's still inside the bunker. Korthar can be saved, so long as Darude and his orcs are dealt with. I don't know how, but I have to survive. For Korthar's sake. One of mine, a young male, helps one of the elders up. I keep the spear raised for as long as I can, shouting to him in a trembling voice. Lorne, get the doctor! Over his shoulder he nods and carries the elder inside. I rise on unsteady legs, stepping over Korthar to face Darude. I won't let you come near him. I will fight you until my last breath if I have to. Disbelief dawns on him, then humour. I will gladly take that last breath of yours. He sweeps up one of our spears and rakes the bloody snow at his feet. It would be a pleasure to fight you, but I don't think it will be all that satisfying. He opens his arms wide. Come home to me, and I'll see that you keep your special place at my side. It is better than becoming plunder for my soldiers, no? My grin is bitter. What soldiers? I only see a bunch of trembling orcs. They laugh, though I can tell they're more exhausted they're letting on. But what is one human against 4 of them? I'm bluffing at this rate, stalling for time Korthar does not have. I only hope Lorne is as quick on his feet as I remember. Are you afraid to fight me, Darude? Is that why you're hesitating? A scowl comes over him. He doesn't like being taunted, and I'm happy to pokey the beer. It will keep Korthar safe, and maybe, his men will rally and help me finish them. Chapter 29. Anna. Get up, I say again, with more force this time, searing the battlefield with my furious gaze. Those that witness it, even these proud battle-scar soldiers, cringe from my wrath. Get up and fight. Your chieftain needs you now more than ever. No one rises. Darude's laugh irks me. You think these cowards have the strength? Look at them. Aimless, without their precious leader. And I don't think they're going to obey a little human, no matter how much spirit you might possess. They know they are defeated. It is you who is delusional. Rage strengthens me. I hoist the spear higher. You are all talk, Darude. His jaw firms, and there's a flash of murder in his yellow eyes. He storms forward with dark intent. You will learn your place, if it is the last thing I teach you, human. Your kind is nothing, less than nothing. To be ground under our feet when we tire of you. I will cut that sharp tongue out myself if I have to. I scramble backwards, losing precious ground. But I will not leave Korthar to take the brunt of Darude's ire when I have riled him up. My voice is wavering with desperation. Get up, you useless battle-scar soldiers. We have a chance to stop him if you rise now. Your leader still lives, and he needs you. Guilty faces are all I get. My boldness is fading. I cringe as Darude and his orcs draw closer. There is no hope left, not anymore. The humans stand no chance against them, and I will die protecting the orc I love. There will be no one to tell our story, save for this beast. He snarls, throwing his weapon into the snow. I don't need a spear to kill you, human, when a strong flick might better do the job. He lunges for me, and I roll to one side, jabbing into open air. Darude's growl rumbles as he lunges again. He's huge. The moment he has me in his grasp, I'm done for. He'll squeeze my head between those massive paws, and all hope for Korthar will die with me. But I'm quick. I've taught myself how to hunt, and this brute is no different than an angry bear, just a little smaller. I have to keep my wits about me if I'm going to survive. The other Broken Bones clansmen stand back as we tumble. Darude reaching, me avoiding, never once managing to land a strike. His limbs are big but surprisingly fast for how much weight he's lugging around. That's when I realise he's playing with me, taking his time while I tire, gloating as I evade his heavy grip. Just as he's about to lay his hands on me, I roll under his legs and right myself, pivoting to spear him in his backside. He deserves no less for all he's done. But something beneath my feet rumbles, setting me off centre. It puts Darude off too, and all his clansmen. I back up several paces as the ground opens in front of me, sucking down that bastard and the last of the Broken Bone soldiers. Snow spills over the lip, burying them in 10 feet of white powder. I remain still, keeping my weapon ready. I expect them to break free of the ice at any minute, clamber back from the dead and finish us off. But all is silent. I only hear Korthar's breathing as it comes, strained to a whistle through the blood. I remain frozen in fear of Darude's return, but the worst never comes. Someone puts a hand on my shoulder, a human hand. Anna. I turn in surprise to see the old chemist, with a thin-lipped grin spread across his wrinkled face. Mark? Behind him, the remaining humans are flooding out of the bunker. I'm shocked to see so many survive the attack. The doctor is already assessing Korthar, and the blood rushes from my head with the relief. Lorne is there to catch me before I hit the snow. It's all right. The demolition was a planned one, the chemist says, glancing to where the broken bones had fallen. I triggered the last of the C4 we had in reserve, and it turned out rather well, I think. Are you okay? I shake my head. I need to see Korthar. No one stops me as I rush to his side. The doctor is working tirelessly over him, and somehow the bleeding has finally ebbed. The battle-scar soldiers gather around, picking themselves up after being so terribly useless at the end of the fight. They seem to be holding vigil over their leader, as if they're certain he's a goner. It is a mortal wound, one whispers. He'll not survive the night, says another. Like hell, I interrupt, glaring at them for being so hopeless when he needs our hope now more than ever. He can't die. He can't, I repeat in my head, my lower lip trembling. The doctor gives us no sign that he'll make it, his peppered brow furrowing with concentration. Someone provides him more adequate supplies from the bunker. The wound is deep. I can see his insides when the lance is removed. Fresh blood gushes out, and I clap a hand over my mouth before a sob escapes me. I don't know if he'll survive. My heart surges to see him recover, but my mind is beginning to side with his soldiers. The wound is too deep. He's lost too much blood. We do not have the resources that he needs to recover here. I sink to my knees and catch his limp hand, trying to rub the warmth back into it. Don't leave me, Korthar, I whisper, kissing each of his cold knuckles in turn. I'll be lost without you.
Chapter 30. Korthar. I am quite certain I will explode with the pain. Given that my body punishes me so badly, I know that I am not dead. But I have no idea where I am, and whose hands I am now in. With everything I have in me, I try to move, but the pain is searing. Too much even for me. I can only hope that I am not in the hands of the Broken Bones again. If I am, then I surely stand no chance this time around. Wincing, I try not cry out. It is not the way of the orc, and certainly not that of a chieftain. Whatever I must bear, I must do it silently. Whoever is around me cannot see me like this. A soft hand touches mine, and I know instantly it is her. Anna. I manage to muster the strength to speak, hoping beyond hope that I am not dreaming.
Yes, she says. Be still, Korthar. You must rest. Your injuries need to heal fully.
The relief that I feel is beyond any I have felt before. Hearing her voice is enough to bring me fully to consciousness. Dragging my eyelids across my tired eyes, I see her, the tears streaming in rivers down her beautiful face. When she reaches down to embrace me, I know I could happily drop away into the darkness. She is safe, and she is here. Her sobs tear at my heart. I cannot bear to hear her in such pain. I would rather die 1,000 times over than see her this way. Korthar, you're alive. Her face is pained, red with emotion.
So it would seem. But I am more concerned that you are, Anna. The thought of anything happening to you. I should have been there to protect you. I'm fine, she reassures me, and I have to believe her. And you were there to protect me. You saved my life, Korthar. You took Darude's lance for me. And I would do it again, I say firmly. I know you would, but I do not want you to. I want you alive and well. Her words comfort me, but they would not deter me. I would do it again and again, for her. I would do anything to keep her safe, no matter the cost to myself. Have I been out for long? I ask. You've been asleep for 2 days. We are so lucky that there is a doctor at the bunker. He saved you, Korthar. For the second time in recent weeks, I owe my life to a human. How strange this world can be. The orcs slay each other, and the humans help us, even after everything we have done to them in their home. But how? What happened? Darude was... Images of that beast with his lance trained at Anna assault my mind. It is an image that will live with me for a long time yet, I have no doubt. Darude is no more, she says, her voice harsher than I have ever known it. The chemist had buried bombs in the snow with a detonator. He couldn't use it at first as the humans had not been fully evacuated. Bombs. Once he was certain that myself and the other humans, and your men, of course, were clear of the area, he detonated the bombs, burying those animals. I wish you could have seen. Your greatest enemies wiped out in the flick of a switch. I am indeed in debt to that chemist of yours. I just hope they suffered, the way those women back at their stronghold suffered. Her taste for revenge surprises me, but I like it. I could make an orc of her yet, though I would not want to. She is perfect as she is. She scrubs her hands across her dirty face. I can't believe we were so lucky, Korthar. That makes 2 of us. It seems that fate is smiling down on us sometimes, Anna. Despite everything, we will triumph. Lying here in pain, I know it will not always be easy. But I don't need it to be easy, as long as we succeed. Deep in my bones, I believe it, because I want it. Now more than ever, I want to live, to see her live and be free, just as she had always dreamed of. Not just for her, but for her people. She wanted it for them too, especially the females. I may be a warrior, but so is she. Her unfathomable depths will always be a beautiful mystery to me. This human female who freed me from my bonds and showed me the real meaning of courage. She sniffs and looks down at me, deep into my eyes. I have never noticed how beautiful her eyes were before. How is that so? A captivating swirl of green and brown and orange. I don't know if it is fate or God or whatever. But something must be looking down on us, Korthar, she says, before pressing her lips gently to mine. I manage to bring a hand to her cheek. I love you, Hannah. You will never know how much. The feelings that I have for this woman overwhelm me. I have known nothing but war and leadership. Now I know what it is to love. Her eyes water again, a stray tear dropping to my face. And I love you, Korthar. Though I know she would never lie to me, I still cannot bring myself to believe it. How could a human, one so perfect, feel that way about an orc? Do you mean it? I ask, my eyes pleading with her. With all of my heart, she says. I close my eyes as I feel her lips on mine. This woman is the best thing that has ever happened to me, and nothing and no one is going to take her away from me, ever again. Chapter 31. Korthar. I am ready. Anna looks up at me, her inquiring eyes searching mine, her hand reaching up to examine my wound. I know that look by now, and I love how she challenges me. Are you sure, Korthar? Because we can stay here at the bunker a few more days. What matters is that you are healed and strong enough to make the journey. I pull her close and kiss the top of her head. Though I would not let anyone else question my strength, I know that with her, it is nothing but concern for me. I am certain of it, my love. I need to return to my people now. The bunker has been a place of great comfort to me while I was healing, but it is time now. Then let's make the arrangements, she says. I like the way she talks about making plans together, as if it is the two of us. But hasn't it always been that way? We have been planning and negotiating since the moment we met, and she is an expert at it. It is a long and cold journey. We must be prepared. But as long as I know you are strong enough, then that is all I need, she says. How did I become the recipient of such love and concern? Wrapping my arms around her, I have to be careful not to crush her, because the feelings I have for her make me want to hold her so tight and never let go. She is my woman, and I love her more than even I can comprehend. I'll leave the arrangements to you, I concede. Like you have a choice, she says, and I can feel her smiling against my chest. Like I ever had a choice. You claimed me from the moment I laid eyes on you. She offers me her mouth, and I am more than happy to take it. She melts into my kiss, and it is something I will never tire of. Those lips against mine. I love you, Korthar, she says, when I release her mouth and my heart sings. And I you. We cover the ground quickly, the cold spurring us on. None of us, human or orc, wants to spend any more time than necessary out here at this time of the year. Though the journey is grueling, it is my job to lead us back in good time, as safely as possible. The humans surprise me with their strength and determination, though I don't know why. I should be used to it by now. Their train of people keeps up with my fast pace as I lead them back to the stronghold, with Anna at my side. The horn sounds as we approach, and the barricades are lifted as my clan prepares to welcome us back. It is good to be home, and after the last few weeks, I intend to stay put for a while before leaving again. My fellow clan members rush to us, their faces firstly on me, their leader, and then at the human train behind me. The council leader approaches, his head bowed before taking me in a strong embrace and clapping me hard on the back. It is good to see you, Chieftain, he says. I knew you would come back to us. Not as good as it is to see you and to be back, I say. I trust the arrangements have been made for those who have returned with us. Yes, of course, he replies. The huts are finished, and the fires are prepared. Good. We have brought back supplies, as much as we could carry. It should be more than enough to help with the new numbers. That is good to hear. I turn, raising my hands to the sides. Welcome to the Battle Scar clan. Treat this place as your home now. There are beds for you and fires prepared to warm yourselves. My men will show you to your quarters. Please rest and we will gather in the coming days.
We have much to discuss and many arrangements to make. Thank you, and sobs float across the cold air. It is overwhelming for many of them. Life as they know it will now change, and it is my hope that it will be for the better. With Anna at my side, I know that it will be. Clutching her hand, I lead her back to my hut. People stop and welcome us as we make our way across the stronghold. I nod and thank them. I have never been happier to see my home, and when the door is closed behind us, I can feel myself finally relaxing. The hut is warm, a fire already burning, casting a welcoming amber glow across the room. Collecting as many furs as I can find, I throw them on the floor in front of the fire and take off my boots and outer garments. Come, sit, I say to Anna. She smiles, though she looks tired. She slips out of her cloak and shoes and takes her place on the furs as the fire warms her. I settle behind her, encasing her in my arms and enjoying it being just me and her and our love for each other. We sit in silence for a long time before she finally says, I wish it could be like this all of the time. I kiss her temple, enjoying her musing. Maybe it could be, I say. She sinks back into me and I turn her face to mine. Marry me, I say. Her face lights up. Orcs marry, she asks. No, technically they mate bond. But you are not an orc. And I would do anything for you, Anna. Just the way you like it. Tears prick her eyes. Then we will do both, she says. My heart skips a beat. You mean? Yes, Korthar. Of course it's a yes.
Chapter 32. Anna. I stroke the scar just below Korthar's sternum. It has healed nicely since the battle at the bunker, leaving a wicked bolt that makes his stomach muscles leap when I touch it. He catches my hand and squeezes. You're worrying again. What's there to worry about? I right myself, letting the fur slip from my naked front. I like it when his breath quickens, as if he's seeing me for the first time. I dare him silently to do something about it. Winter is almost over. We survived Darude. He puts a heavy finger to my lips, his brow furrowed in gentle but firm sternness. Don't say that name in my bed. His yellow eyes soften as his finger thrums my bottom lip. It is unwise to summon bad luck on such a fine evening. I lean into his embrace, my fingers dancing over his scar, as if I'm memorizing the lines. I'll try to remember that. But you're right, he concedes with a sigh. Winter will break soon. Thanks to your friends from the bunker and their clever inventions, resources are secured. And you have agreed to be my woman. What more could an orc want? My hand trails down the cleft of his stomach, towards that sensitive skin. I trace his hips before gripping him. I can think of a few things. His body tightens with expectation. I like the way he responds to me. He's almost nervous, and it's terribly endearing in a creature of his size. A grin finds me as I shimmy down. By the deceiver, this is just too hot for YouTube to handle. I know it's disappointing, trust me, I do. But if I keep going, then YouTube is going to kick us out of here for violating their standards. Lucky for you, the unabridged version of this entire book can be found at worldsofprotheka.com. And to keep us both in the mood, I've got a little something for you. If you use the code YouTube30 when checking out, you can get 30% off of all digital products. That means audiobooks and ebooks too. And I know you want this release just as much as I do. But let's get back to the story. Chapter 33. Anna. The sun beats down upon my skin and I savour every drop. Having left the bunker 2 years ago, I will never take this feeling for granted. It is more than I could have ever hoped for. I place my hand on my swollen belly. It will not be long, and I cannot wait to meet the next member of my family. In the distance, I see Korthar flinging our daughter up in the air before catching her. Her giggles catch in my heart. "Be careful!" I shout. In truth, I know she is fine. With his strong arms and quick reflexes, she would never be in danger. But I am a mother, and it comes naturally to me to worry. He strides up the embankment towards me, Korthar looking so small in his arms. She looks down at me with the golden eyes of her father, soft yellow curls falling over her face. She holds out pudgy hands, her skin the softest hue of sage. She is perfect, in every way. Korthar hands her to me, and she nestles into me before scrambling off me and into the long grass. He takes his place beside me, resting on his side, and I can feel the heat of his strong body, even though we are not touching. He watches as our daughter picks her way through the grass, stopping every now and then to examine the different colour wildflowers. He looks at me and raises an eyebrow. "She's keeping you on your toes," I say, smiling as she takes off towards the embankment. "Just like her mother," he says, sliding a large hand over my stomach. He looks for her as she disappears, before calling out to her. In the distance we see her face as she gives us a mischievous grin. Then she turns and carries on doing her own thing. "Damn it! What is it with the women in my life?" he says, a crooked smile on his face. He jumps to his feet to catch up with her. When he brings her back, her face is worked into a frown. "Come," I say, opening my arms to receive her. "It is time we got back so that she can eat." He slips down beside me again before his hand finds my stomach. "Surely she is due for a nap then," he says, his mouth close to my neck now. "Korthar!" I say, laughing. "What?" "You know how I feel about you when you look like this, carrying my child inside you." "You claimed me a long time ago," I remind him. "I would claim you every day for the rest of my life," he growls into my ear. "I think you already do," I reply, though in all honesty I am certainly not complaining. "There are plenty more children I want to put in here," he says. I smile, thinking of how Orc he is sometimes. And I thought I was more than just a breeder. "I think we both know that you are," he says. Of course, I know that I am, but I still like to tease him, and Orcs take the bait very easily. He looks at me with eyes full of love. "As much as I hate the Broken Bones clan, I have to thank them for delivering you to me." I think you were the one that was delivered to me," I say, from what I remember. He huffs and waves a hand before becoming serious again. "What would I ever do without you, my Anna?" he says gently. "The woman who saved me." "We saved each other," I say, meaning every word. "We are lucky to have found each other, Korthar, despite everything that was against us, despite all of the darkness that we each had to face. I could face anything with you, Anna." I look up and to see our daughter making a run for it again. "Well, soon you'll be facing another of these," I say, tapping my belly and then gesturing to Korthar. "Damn it!" he says, springing to his feet again. I cannot stop laughing as I watch my hulk of a husband trying to chase our toddler. Tears run down my cheeks, and I know they are made of both gratitude and joy. I could never have imagined being so happy, so free to live the life I choose, out in the open air, away from the bunker, with people who I love more than life itself. His face is a picture when he returns. Who could have thought a baby would prove too much for Korthar, chieftain of the Battlescar clan? "Let's get back," I say, holding out a hand. Korthar helps me to my feet, and we make our way across the grass-covered land back to the stronghold. It is bustling when we return. Though there is still the threat from other clans, it is more than enough for the people of the Battlescar clan to feel the sun on their backs and plentiful supplies. And we will need them. The clan will continue to grow as orcs and humans now enter into a new era of mixed relationships. Their partnerships will bear children, as ours has done, and we will reach out to other humans in time. It was always Korthar's intention to build bridges with humans, though I doubt very much he could have foreseen how that would have come about.
Chief,
The council would like to meet later today when the sun sets.
as they wish.
My husband says. It is good news, says the messenger, hardly able to contain his excitement. We have already secured supplies to last the coming winter and beyond. And there is more, about the possible alignment with the humans beyond the border. I see the deep look of relief and satisfaction that comes over Korthar. That is good news, he says. I look forward to hearing about it later. But for now, I have other matters to attend to. He gives me a mischievous look before he takes my hand and leads me to our hut. Korthar, my husband, my orc,